acolo este va fi corner, dragi ascultători.
Greetings, Val Verde. Welcome back to another commentary. That's weird. Don't stop it. I'm Duncan Casey, and obviously here, this beautiful effigy of sonotic brilliance is
Mr. Black.
yes, Mr. Black, aka
Richard
Blackson.
That's the blaxploitation version of me.
Of the Blackson 5.
The Blackson 5. Richard Roundtree played me in a film.
That's it.
Yeah.
With odd racial overtones that have crept in.
Well, I don't know. I just sort of like referencing blaxploitation.
It is good. It's
good. Very off
Blackula.
Topic. It's entirely off topic.
Certainly not. We're not doing Blackula today, believe it or not. We are going to do a commentary for your earhole delight on a film called Terminator Savlon.
Terminator Savlon, sponsored by the Savlon.
It was a weird. I've forgotten about. 10 years old. This film. 10 years old.
That's depressing, isn't it?
Isn't it? I know.
Same year as Iron Man, I guess. Oh no, that was 08.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's 11 years old. Oh. Anyway, on that note, if you'd like to watch along with us, and why wouldn't you, please get your copy of Terminator Savlon, the theatrical cut, to the place where you press play, and press play now.
Now. Wait.
Oh.
Why isn't it working?
Now. Stupid infrared.
A lot of people don't watch long anyway. And, I'm sure you can spin back and fix it. And this film's rubbish. So here's the thing. I mean, I'm not really apt to offer a huge lot of critical insight into this. I do my best. But I've already talked about it before. Did you? No. Okay. That's good. So you've never talked about it before. Okay, cool. So we've got a new angle on it. And I talked about this absolutely years ago. I think it would have been 2013 or something. Right. I last talked about this on.
I did Genesis.
Genesis. Oh yes, you did.
So I've obviously spoken of this film, but not. Not directly about it.
You're
already tired.
Rubbish.
It's a shame. I mean, we said this is probably the best of the sequel, the post-2 sequel.
I prefer to phrase it as it's the least worst.
Yeah.
Post Terminator 2 film. Yeah. I mean, I think, as I said, it was an easy kind of binary to make once in the blessed days when there was just Terminator 3 and 4, so to speak. I used to say that, Terminator 3's problem is that it's really disrespectful, and Terminator Salvation's problem is that it's far too reverent. Because this film is guilty of being horrifically po-faced, but then do really silly stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's like having "You Will Be Mine" and stuff, and they actually did get Linda Hamilton back to record those.
The voiceover stuff, yeah. But don't worry, because it doesn't matter. None of it matters, because this now isn't canon.
Twice.
Fuck's sake.
It now isn't canon twice.
That's true. Yeah. Very good point. Yeah, because Genesis shat on it, and then now Dark Fat is gonna.
I mean, it does take, as you mentioned before we started, this does actually follow on from Terminator 3. It has Catherine Brewster and stuff in it. So, I mean, it does it in the softest possible way, in that it seems that they survived in the bunker. And
it does that modern title from the Terminator. Yeah, I mean, it does the same kind of thing, but badly. Let's be honest.
Oh, dear.
But yes.
Yes.
Longview State Correctional Facility.
This is all hogwash, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is just hogwash.
Hogwash.
Oh, hello, I'm Helena Bonham Carter.
Helena Bonham Carter.
I've got movie cancer. Can I put you in a robot? Bye. There, I just did the same for you. It's fine.
Mansa. It's the portmanteau.
I was serious as Mansa when I said rhythm as a dancer. Synchronized ums.
So at the time, didn't she lose her family in a horrendous car crash? Like a bunch of her family died. Right at the time she was shooting this. It was really horrific.
Vile tragedy related to her, poor woman. Yeah. I also understand either the reason she's in it or the reason Danny Elfman's in it is because of the Tim Burton link. One of them recommended the other, and that kind of comes. Yeah. But Danny Elfman's not in it. Like, it's not like the band Oingo Boingo.
He plays the T600. Left leg.
Played by Danny Elfman. There's one practical element, and it's the new wave musician / famous film composer Danny Elfman.
On set, there was just this leg going around.
Spotted them easy. Yeah. Their left leg was the new wave musician / film composer Danny Elfman.
You'd hear this oompa band sound coming from miles away.
You could hear circus music and the theme from Weird Science. Doesn't feel pity or remorse. Anyway, tangents.
Absolutely will not stop ever.
I mean, she looks more like Megamind than anything with that.
Well, that's the trouble with ball caps is they have to cover your hair as
Your
well.
own hair,
Sort
yeah.
of, you end up with this giant bulbous head.
Also, second thing of like kind of posh British person playing the embodiment of Skynet. I mean, obviously Matt Smith is a fella, but they're not massively different people. Kind of same colour hair, skin tone, and just the whole thing of like wanting to slap a face on Skynet really robs it a lot of it.
This business, though, that I don't. This business of
oh, whoops! There goes the monetization.
Oh God! This business of getting like the idea that Cyberdyne were involved in cybernetics before the war, I don't like.
No,
because the whole fucking thing was that I just said fuck. The whole thing was that Skynet came up with that. That was Skynet said it was. Why were they investing in it?
It's like
why were they coming up with infiltration unit?
Terminator 2, right? They're making microprocessors that end up going in drones.
Yeah.
Terminator 3, there's deleted footage where they've actually built a T800.
Yeah.
It's like no. Like that's a prototype. And the timeline's changed. Suck my shit. The time hasn't changed. All this crap.
With it, and as well, like the HKs, I can just about.
He's on a cross.
Oh, I get it now.
On a cross, like
it all
Jesus.
makes sense now.
Like John Connor's initials, like Jesus. My name's Marcus Crimeface, and I'm a Terminator. Where's the fuck? Why are you there?
Marcus Meridius Deciman.
Look at that guy.
Well, yeehaw!
Why you give him the needle?
I miss the electric chair.
I demand satisfaction.
Yeah, I say so. Foghorn Leghorn motherfucker. So those syringes are full of air bubbles. That's the thing I don't understand as well. You know, like you have an injection stuff, they're so anal about getting the air bubble out of the thing because it will kill you, right? Why don't people just inject others with air?
They do. That is a thing that happens. Yeah, there was.
But I mean, why don't they? Like, if someone's go to all this poison and shit, like, let's bung a bit of air in his vein. Done.
It's probably considered inhumane, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah,
does it hurt or something?
Well, it's not a pleasant way to go. No, I mean neither is lethal injection, frankly. But you know, one of the drugs in lethal injection is to paralyse you, so you don't squirm. I mean, that's fucking horrible. It's
pretty horrific.
This shares writers with so Brancato and Ferris, who wrote this, and then Jonathan Nolan, I think, come and punched it up or rewrote it or whatever. Right. And it was, as we discussed before we rolled, so desperate to get in on that sweet Batman money, Batman time. You know.
So as I understand it, the John Connor role was supposed to be quite small, and Christian Bale was supposed to play Marcus, wasn't he?
Yes.
And then at the 11th hour, he went, "No, I think I want to play John Connor."
Have a banana.
And the result was that they had to beef that role up and they had to recast Marcus. And I'm guessing that Sam Worthington got the nod from James Cameron after because he'd shot Abadar, but it hadn't come out yet.
Right.
So
this was. Oh, that's right.
This was the sort of introduction to him for most people.
Oh, that was a tank track hunter killer that shot down the plane. It looked like.
Yeah, no, it was.
Oh, I never noticed.
Yeah, you see them in the background. There's one there. Look.
Yeah. Hooray for the background. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Oh, it's kind of
broad
like a
daylight.
4-gun thing. It's not exactly the same.
It's a double one because 2 is more.
2 is more. That's the thing.
All this stuff is done very well, though. I have to say, I know it's not necessarily
done very
right
well, but it's just not as good. It looks great for a Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it isn't a Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not into this. The whole thing of them fighting an air war and stuff. It's like you didn't listen to those other films whatsoever. Like it's not. It's like he says. We move around at night. They're a guerrilla army that live underground, and they get forced into this kind of. You know, the start of Terminator 2 is supposed to be the end of the war, so they're forced into this, and that's why Skynet's using infiltrators as ground troops and stuff. Like, but having them running around a helicopter with jets and shit.
But no, Richard, you don't understand. This is before that. This is early on.
This is 11 years before that.
Yeah. Well, it is supposed to be early on, and that's their get out of jail because doesn't he say at one point like they're early, like because he finds all the blueprints for T800.
That's such having your cake and eat it, though, isn't it?
Oh no, I agree. And all this stuff, you see all this technology around and stuff, and they've got swimmy ones and all that, and it's like, but the T800 is going to be the big game changer. Really?
Yeah. That's the thing, because they've got a giant transformer that steals people and the motorcycle bikes. And it's oh, so that's improvement, is it? Like,
and big human ones, but not small human ones.
I've made this joke. It's one of my favourite own things that I've said, and I've used it shamelessly over and over. So I'm going to say it one last time. Carley says we spotted the T100s. We spotted the T600s easy because they had rubber skin. My joke was always we spotted them easy because they're 8 foot tall and have miniguns for hands, which is what we see, and it just completely does not Look, Terminator 3, 4, and Genesis all feel like they didn't watch the other films, or at least they'd watched them once and didn't really follow through on them.
Yeah. So this business of having a Terminator that doesn't... I mean, I think Skynet's grand plan, if you can call it that, for this film is like, what? To have a Terminator that doesn't know it's a Terminator, to lure John Connor to Skynet where it can be kill him, and they know that Kyle Reese is a person of interest. They shouldn't. None of that should be, and it's like, you could say there's some sort... I mean, it is implied that something's wrong in this film because the way, timeline's screwed up or something. But no. I mean...
Quick sidebar for something that pissed me off recently on Twitter. Someone posted up one of those sort of clickbait articles. It's like, I didn't know Christian Bale was British. And then enter loads of Americans going, he's not British, he's from Wales. Just a quick note on geography. Wales is in Great Britain. Therefore, the Welsh, the Scottish, the English, and the Northern Irish are all British. It's not interchangeable with English. That really fucks me off.
Yeah.
That's like me saying Texas is in Canada, basically. Like, it's...
They're devolved.
Yes, they're devolved, but they're all part of Great
Britain.
Specifically, Great Britain, the United Kingdom of Great Britain makes you British.
It's called a United Kingdom.
And then I had Americans trying to tell me I was wrong about it. And it's like, no, I live here.
Yeah.
It's like my mum's Scottish. She considers herself British because that's just empirical fact.
Yeah.
Anyway, that annoyed me about 5 months ago on Twitter, and I'm using this podcast.
That's always
my
get out thing when people say you Bahamian or English or whatever. I'm like, I don't think of myself as English. I think of myself as British because that's my, the Bahamas was a colony, so it's kind of like, we're part of the Commonwealth. So
right.
So I can say I'm British even though I'm Bahamian, but not English.
My parents are English, Irish, and Scottish, so I'm about
as British as you can get, son. Now there's this random cameo by what's his face? What's the guy's name?
Michael Ironside?
No, him. Terry Crews.
Oh, Terry Crews. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. He's like a dead resistance fighter.
Just dead. Like, what was that about?
I didn't realise that. Remember we did a It Ain't Broke episode on this. Now available on Val Verde Broadcasting.
Yeah.
I didn't... It was when I was going through this footage to find clips. I was like, is that Terry Crews' corpse? Like,
it's so random.
He had a... Because, for example, in The Sixth Day, he has a proper role as actor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like he wasn't Terry Crews at this point. I like this. This shot's really good. So this is all one take that... he takes off, gets shot down. It's all in one. This
is all very nicely made.
Oh yeah.
You got to give it that credit. It's a bit dreary. It's a bit grey, and like you said, it's in the Everybody Wants to Be Wally Pfister in 2009, and stuff. But it looks really great. And unfortunately, it's just a dreary script. Like if this was all this production value went into a better script, probably not a Terminator one because it doesn't look like the Terminator films, but. Something they all seem to forget, Terminator 1, which is the film's actual name. It's called Terminator 1. That is a joke, for fuck's sake. And 2, they both have a very specific kind of colour palette and mood and stuff, and none of them even try to emulate that. Or
I mean, this does something different for all of its, it's like the Genesis 3, I have no idea with Dark Fate, but they all seem to be pale imitations of T2. That just seems to be what they want to do all the time. And
Dark Fate seems to have this colour palette, oddly.
This colour palette, Genesis's kind of production design,
a couple of its ideas.
A lot of the ideas from. It's the idea that you just got nuked there because I'm
I
sorry, that's not really
that handheld looks really sells that effect.
Oh yeah.
But the idea that they just got nuked is a bit like okay. I mean, I suppose it could be just a big bomb or whatever.
And that was just hanging out.
See, Terminators love throwing people.
Yeah, they do. Each other.
Each other. Yeah, it could have just wrung his fucking neck.
Yeah. And one, the whole wall. No, I gotta soften him up first.
They're so shit at killing people. They have to invent a fucking time.
He's still trying to keep up the pretense that it's human, so he doesn't realise. Hey guys,
it's me, Brian. Let's be friends. Would you like a cuddle?
Yeah.
Cuddle not found. Cuddle not found.
Yeah. I keep my cuddles in my legs.
Hey guys, how do you like being in the Resistance?
I hate machine.
I won't even use the toaster.
Do you think Terry Crews is a robot?
Milk. The
Yeah, he's very. I mean, this is often cited as it definitely phoning this in because his whole thing is, but then to have lashed out like he did at the DP in that tape of like he's taking it so seriously, and it's like really.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's neat. The eyes go out and stuff.
Yeah, that's the second time they've done that though.
This is the thing. It kind of really slavishly piles in all these motifs, but seems to not really get it at the same time, which is kind of.
I mean, I shouldn't say that. So far, I'm more or less with apart from the opening prologue stuff. I'm generally with it. All this stuff looks pretty. It's desolate. It's nasty. It's grimy.
Unfortunately, it's less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Which is what about his Wally? Can you see his dong? Dude, you straight up just saw his dick.
Kind of.
It's covered in mud. So I mean, if there's any predators,
I was going to say, is that a call back to the? It's like, what's that noise? Said the predator.
Do it now. Yeah. Kill me, I'm here. I'm fucking Avatar.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not. Is a fucking machine.
I'm a bloody Avatar, mate. Scrotum. You wish your bloody coat, mate. I'm an Avatar.
Yeah. This bit is ludicrous, where he like
this is the problem.
Hops into the sea.
Just everything. So he jumps into an irradiated sea in the middle of the night and swims to a submarine.
Yeah.
Like, is that the only way? And again, the whole concept of the resistance having any kind of air presence.
Yeah.
Just like because like you see them in the first movie and even in the second movie, they're like an organised military, but it's all just kind of fatigues and stuff, and it still feels a bit scrounged.
Yeah.
But in this, and Terminator Genesis, when they have those bloody Power Ranger uniforms.
Oh god, yeah, it's way too clean as well, that film. But this, I think this maintains some of the sort of. But yeah, it does feel like they have time to just hang out at their air base and stuff. It's like you wouldn't.
The fact that they have territory.
Well, yeah.
Like they're shown as like the Terminators rule above ground.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's only the timeline. Don't give a shit, mate. It's just bullshit.
It's definitely true that I think they would. There's no way they'd have an airbase. Like no military installation would still be around, would it? Because it'd just be targeted.
They live in the sewers and shit, eating rats. Like,
yeah.
You don't really see any of that. You do see. I mean, they go to because what Kyle basically describes in the first movie is really close to the actual Holocaust. Like it's really unpleasant, and they kind of do a bit.
Covers his face.
He should pinch his nose when he goes into a giant wave as well, and then it just cuts to him on the helicopter.
And he's wet. He's a bit wet.
He swamped to the screen door, didn't he? And they let him in. I guess.
How does that even work? Like what?
No explanation. No explanation. It's just like Michael Ironside is wasted here. You think you're Jesus?
He doesn't lose a limb though, does he?
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, if I was Michael Ironside on this set, I'd be staying well away from Christian Bale.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, Machinist reunion.
Great movie. Really like The Machinist.
I like The Machinist as well. We should do something on that.
We should do The Machinist. See, I quite like this because he's like meant to be Russian Navy or whatever, right? So they're kind of an international force.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't really make any sense because they'd have had to got from Russia to LA in a nuclear holocaust. But
also, like, surely nuclear subs and stuff would be the first thing that Skynet would seize control over. Like,
wouldn't they be automated as well or whatever? Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's a nice thought.
Yeah, because I mean, surely the idea is that the whole military-industrial complex is turned against everyone, so you can't just fucking help yourself to a submarine. Unless it was like an old one, you know what I mean? Like, unless they had
a museum.
they have to go to like
that one from Transformers 5. It's not in Greenwich. There's one outside of London. There, submarine. Just put it on some rollers, roll it out into the Thames, and off you go. Yeah, let's go find LA. That was my Russian. That was not a Russian accent. I don't know why I did that. It's like a Asian dude there as well. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's a nice thought, but it's pretty fucking unlikely. The whole idea that he answers to like what must have been serving military officers doesn't add up to me. And also the kind of like, you're not the Messiah, John Connor. I think the whole point was he just saved him. They followed him because of what he didn't use his knowledge. Like okay, let me start again. In Genesis, they literally call him a prophet.
Right.
In this, like, no one believes he's the leader. From what Kyle describes, he never went around telling people he could tell the future. And he just led everybody.
And that's the problem as well. Is it's like everyone talks like they know his history. That's too telegraphed a delivery. I'm sorry, mate. I hate talking badly about actors, but that's still. It's some guy. You might say his name was Kyle. Reese, I'm going to throw that out there. I don't know.
You might know him from your past or something. Bye.
Yeah. Look at that.
Do you want to put those lights out, lads? You might be able to see that from the sky, from immediately above.
What were we saying about stuff? Oh, so it's talked about everyone it's somehow it was written down that he was a messiah. Ego cam, that's so played out. And that implies that he turned up, presumably after his mum was dead, and was like, no, I'm the Messiah, guys. Everyone, no one would take him seriously. It's like you had to lead by example and earn that. Surely.
Yeah, and I don't think he even went around telling people. I think as far as I could tell, it's not till it's at the end game when they get to the time machine. It's like, oh, by the way, guys, it's not like, I'm your fucking Messiah. Yeah,
well, because the way Carl talks about him as well is like taught us to storm the thing, blah blah blah, and obviously that then translates into actually Sarah.
And he basically broke them out of a concentration camp, is what. He
and that's what people don't seem to get as well. Like John Connor's not an interesting character. Sarah's the only reason he's able to do that is because Sarah got all the training for him. Sarah taught him to, you know what I mean. So it's like, so he is just essentially a MacGuffin. A human MacGuffin in a way, don't get me wrong, he's still a character, but
that's what we've discussed before, and that's my point, is that you should never actually see John Connor, because in Terminator 2 you don't see John Connor, you see John Connor as a child, and fucking someone's going, you see him in the fast you literally see John Connor in the.
You see that he knows how to use binoculars.
That's a man with binoculars, and a scar, which the film seemed to want to over-explain for some reason. But you should never really see him. He's not that interesting. The point is he's mythological. The fact that he's got the same initials as Jesus Christ there's a point to that. You know what I mean?
Well, he's a sort of silver bullet. He's the MacGuffin. He's the thing that you have to protect in order to save the world. He may as well be an algorithm or a weapon of some kind, except that he has to lead by example.
So basically in this scene it's a MacGuffin looking at a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Whilst the MacGuffin's wife intervenes.
My daddy's famous.
I think they did. Oh, she's pregnant.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
that. I completely forgot that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he gives a shit. The second entry in the failed trilogy. There was, I think Nick Stahl and Claire Danes were initially in the frame for this, but I don't know how far that went. And
fucking Nick Stahl, didn't he disappear at one point?
Nick Stahl had some drink and drug problems, I believe. I believe he was an alcoholic. Drink. I think he's just started doing stuff again.
What drugs?
Yeah.
Crack cocaine.
The curse of John Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, and I mean. Not that bothered to see them not return, you know what I mean?
I just feel like Christian in this instance, and I do like Christian Bale. That's green screen as fuck. I just feel like in this scenario, Christian Bale is that kind of jock, first A team rugby player who muscles his way and goes, "No, I'm going to be in it because I'm."
Right. Particularly at this time, he could do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Dark Knight had just come out the year before. Well, at the time, I think it was when he was cast, so it was just like you cannot say no to Christian Bale, but.
Still doing well, though, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's great as well. Don't get me wrong. This was a hiccup. I mean, if this is his low point, that's a pretty good low point. You know what I mean? He's very consistently good. Otherwise,
look, there's a normal man over there. Hello, shall we be friends? And this didn't do horribly, did it? I mean, it didn't do brilliantly either, but it didn't do horribly.
Well, it was. I think it was an upswing from 3. I think that's the thing. A lot of people. Although I don't get nowadays, people in hindsight, people seem to talk about this. Oh, very good, he crushed a skull with his massive boot. Who made those boots?
That person in the costume looks really silly as well.
Yeah.
When it's an animatronic or a CGI, it looks a lot better. But when it's a guy with a rubber mask, it's a man with a rubber mask meant to look like a metal skull with a rubber mask on top.
There's an episode of Space Precinct where a guy goes back in. Yeah, I know. I've already lost.
Jerry Anderson's Space Precinct, baby.
There's a guy who goes back in time as a cyborg or whatever to kill. But it is very Terminator inspired, but it looks like that.
Right.
So
that's in Space Precinct.
That's
Jerry Anderson's Space Precinct. Give it its full time.
Yeah.
Why would it do this? Are you telling me a Terminator can't just reach up and pull a human? Apparently, it's not possible for most humans to. But you can't reach up and grab the rope.
Right.
The way your muscles work won't allow it. I'm sure a contortionist could. Yeah. I'm sure a fucking giant robot could. Or shoot the fucking. Though it is the least accurate gun in the entire world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the little psychic kid that we never hear of again. I mean, in this movie we do, of course.
It's just that that's what I mean. Though it's like the machines went to obviously to the extent of making those giant boots for it, because when it crushed the skull, like the proportion of the skull to its foot was ridiculous. So it's like,
I mean, it is meant to be. Someone's going to say it's meant to be a child's skull, and that's true. But even so, it's shot itself in its detached head.
The good thing is as well though, is it's like that. I do like the fact that it's utterly knackered. Like it's obviously had some kind of covering on it that's been destroyed. I really like the design. Yeah, because this is Stan Winston's studio again, isn't it? I really like the design, but I think it should be like a T500 or something. You know what I mean? Yeah,
if you're telling me there's 8 foot tall rubber skin ones where that deception works at a distance, walking around. Yeah, fine. Yeah, this is where Carl learns to put a bit of string on a gun because everything has to be fucking.
Yeah, there is a bit of that.
I'd take that, but when you're saying that's a T600, it's like, no, mate. That's dumb.
It doesn't feel one evolutionary step away from a T800, or whatever, 2 evolutionary steps, or is it 200? I don't know.
I think having Kyle Reese running around in your movie also a bad idea.
Yeah,
you don't want too much. I will say, if I was going to cast anyone as Kyle Reese, if I had to, I think Anton Yelchin would be it.
He was a great choice. Yeah,
I was a huge fan of his. Bless him. Have you seen Green Room with him and Patrick Stewart?
No, I still haven't seen that.
He is. See, Green Room really, really has the aesthetic of the first Terminator, massively. And has the same sense of dread, but it's a completely different setting and story.
Yeah,
he basically plays Kyle Reese in that.
Okay.
And he looks like him in that as well, way more so than in this.
Did you see that thing that Sam Worthington, where he scratches the back of his head when he's frustrated? Isn't that where he pulls his that's where his locator chip is? Like he pulls it out there, doesn't he?
Okay.
So it's like giving him itchiness or something. That's quite a nice effect with the multi-story building falling down.
It is. It's just a bit. Why is it flying around, knocking down? But again, this is the thing. It's less than the sum of its parts. That's the thing with this film. It's not a bad cast either, but
Sam Worthington.
I'm a bloody Avatar Terminator, mate.
We Aussies, we're taking over Terminator.
I mean Americans. I'm an American, that's right.
Hello. Fringe fries.
Quickly, he's hurt, call an ambo.
Better jump in the ute. You guys have utes, right?
American ute. Bruce Springsteen. Was it 800 series was new. He's all like, well, it's the first time we've seen anything like it, except for the time I was friends with one that was far more advanced than that.
Yeah, I know.
Presumably is a human brain and endoskeleton because it's got a human heart.
Well, and also and also like fucking swimmy snake ones. It's like the Terminator, the Skynet program was, let's take every animal on the earth and robotize it. Or mechanize it. It's like, what? No, it's not trying to infiltrate sea serpents, is it? It's like you're trying to kill humans. That's it.
I will just in mitigation. I don't know if it's exactly like this, like having kind of a serpenty one. James Cameron had an idea of a thing that was going to be called like a silverfish or something.
Yeah, no, I know, but I still take issue with that.
No, it sucks. Yeah, where's the elephant one? Yeah. It's like, sir, we found a zoo.
Yeah.
Just like some Terminator animals.
And there's the rhino from Ace Ventura, clunking its way.
Wright comes out of his arse.
Yeah.
First introduction.
I think the plot came out of it. So. But
Hey.
What's somebody you? Terminator 2.
Joe Dolce's score for Terminator Dark Fate is I don't know what it's not a bad score. I have no idea what Danny Elfman's doing here.
It falls into he does do generic sometimes, much like Hans Zimmer does as well. They tend to, they are capable.
It's quite often when you see that Hans Zimmer credit and you're like, oh, I didn't appreciate it.
Well, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was like, what?
And the Sinister 7 or whatever that group of twats that came together to do the music was called. Because it was like that guy from NERD, Pharrell, and a bunch of people collaborated. And as we all know, that was a really excellent soundtrack. We're Spider-Man. Oh, hey, Spider-Man. Sometimes you got to put a gun on a string and also take a tramp's trousers and Nike trainers and a dirty vest thing and a coat. Because his coat's kind of a bit like Kyle's coat, but...
that's too much, man. It's all too much. Sense
because it's all serendipity when what happens to...
We're trying to say too much about, he learned all that from Marcus Wright, did he?
Such an elbow of a character in it.
Yeah,
no fucking defining thing other than it's a robot man.
Marcus wrong, bitch.
Marcus wrong. And again, if it can make this now, if it can make that now,
I know. What's the T800?
A prototype.
Yeah.
Like,
how is it better?
Yeah.
You've essentially made a human being. Like.
And I'm like, I don't know if I'm never sure if it harvested his organs and put them in a. He's
RoboCop essentially, isn't he?
Is that it?
Is that the idea? That
I wasn't sure if either he was essentially RoboCop or if they essentially cloned all the bits and copied his brain.
Well, they have to, because later on they put him back together again, don't they? Very quickly, because he's all fucked. I'm sorry, he's all fucked up.
Oh,
and then they put him back together, don't they? They just redo his
They
skin.
put him in that human flesh regenerator toy.
Yeah.
They made up the pink paste.
Yeah. Now don't bend your arms for a bit, because they'll
or ever.
Yeah.
You know they repackaged those for Salvation as a Marcus Wright toy.
Oh yeah, of course they did. Yeah,
Which is mad, because I mean, of all the toys to come back. Because I remember my friend had that, and when I got my hands on it, I was like, oh my fucking god! And then after about 20 minutes, it's like, why is his hair pink?
Yeah. It's just literally all one colour.
Can I put clothes on it? No. Can I pose it? No.
So you just
Should we leave the skin on and take it off later? No, it'll go dry. Right. So we're just going to sit and take chunks of it, are we? Yeah. All right, cool. Should we go let off fireworks and blow up dog turds? Yeah, let's do it.
Oh yeah, this is a thing that's done here where they're kind of talking over the radio or whatever. And then John Connor has his night. It's like some sort of DJ show that
Drive Time with John Connor.
Pubmaster. That was the Doobie Brothers. What a fool believe. Ken Bruce is still going in the apocalypse.
Yeah, well, he comes on after John.
Smash those metal motherfucker. This is Ken Bruce reminding you to smash those metal motherfuckers. Beverly Craven with Women to Women.
That was the place.
Yeah.
Or as they're now known, Sting.
Who's this lovely young woman? Man, whatever. It's Annie Lennox. Sorry, fuck that. Go back, start again.
News.
That's annoying as well, because I know that lot of people would have had to come in for auditions and shit like that just to sit around around a radio.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, this is John Connor uniting all the resistance groups. I mean, this is you get to use the old alternate timeline thing, don't you? But John Connor uniting the resistance groups. I'm not into that. He's just someone who rose through the ranks using his knowledge, but wasn't a messiah. In fact, he's never really. He's messianic, sure, and he has the JC thing, but Carl Reese never speaks about him like he's Jesus.
Yeah. This stuff annoys me. Like, there's Griffith Park Observatory, right? Because the first one. But it's like, how close to Judgment Day is this? Because if it's close, that's all irradiated, and you shouldn't be there.
Well, Terminator 3 took place in 2003, right?
Yeah.
And this is so this is 15 years later, and I've heard. Even after nuclear war, the fires would burn for years.
Yeah.
And this is just... And this is the thing. There is no concept of fallout or radiation in this whatsoever.
Yeah, because that's something... Someone said, a nuclear war between... Was it Pakistan and Iran or whatever it was, in the Middle East... Where, we wouldn't be safe, even if they let off if they let off at each other. That's what
I don't mean to trivialise the concept of nuclear war, but
there has been studies done on it. It would literally destroy us as well, because of all the fallout and all the
fallout and the disruption. Yeah, because even Chernobyl was irradiated livestock in Scotland. Mm-hmm. Thousands of miles away. I mean,
well, the Fukushima thing had.
Yeah, Fukushima's crazy, man. Yeah. You can go see some photo reports inside Fukushima. It's nuts.
Yeah,
just all rotten apples on the shelves and stuff, because they put unlike Chernobyl, which was a free for all. Fukushima's had a proper containment zone around it, and you can't.
Well, the Top Gear went through there, didn't they? You wouldn't have watched.
Of course they did.
Top Gear went through Fukushima. This is post Clarkson though. This is all with the new team, they went. I think was it?
Well, they go everywhere, don't they?
Or was it Grand Tour? Anyway, someone went there, and they were literally driveways, and there was someone had a really nice classic Porsche 911 on their drive and stuff like that, and they were like, this place has just been totally abandoned. Literally, people have up and left.
Yeah, Chernobyl, people just went in it, and people lived there, still do. And Fukushima, different story. I mean, because the first Terminator you can just about get, because the war was in 97 and what we see is in 2029. It's 30 odd years later. They live underground. There's a possibility of limited exchange, whatever. But this is like the heart of LA. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I will give them that because I don't think the running around after a nuclear war thing ever adds up, no matter how you cut it, right?
Yeah. No shit. Like, of course it is. What the fuck?
Oh, really? I thought it belonged to the National Trust. Should we still talk to it? Fuck's sake.
That's what it says.
I got no reason not to believe it.
Hello, I am from the National Trust.
National Trust. Yeah,
Yeah,
this little drone thing. I mean, they could just wipe out the whole human race with these. I think this is the problem. You know, there's an inherent problem with when you've got a film set in a technological future, making sequels that decades later, things just stop adding up. Because you either have to commit to the kind of environment of the first film and have that kind of low-tech retro future, or you're kind of afraid of getting laughed at, so you have to put drones and brain scans and cloning in it and whatever.
It's just, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just, again, I think it's so much better when it was. I mean, like I don't know. Like I say, I guess that's what Genesis came down on, was like, well, we kind of have to set it in the 80s. Yeah. And we just have to set it in the 80s.
But then bring it forward.
But then
cake and eat it. And
cock about with it, yeah. That's the problem.
Everything's green. Oh my god.
We are dead. We are all dead.
Oh,
Shut up.
It's the heartbeat moment.
Just angry because he can't grow a beard.
He's one of these people, dark hair, ginger beard. You got to
that, and but he's one. He just doesn't get cheeks. No cheek beard.
No cheek beard. Yeah.
That's it.
I like to shave down to a chin strap because there's an annoying gap next to my nostrils. So
I get alopecia in my beard sometimes. Comes back though.
My friend Dan cut a chunk out of his chin.
Papa died.
And then years later, it grew back as white fluff.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what happens in mine. Like, occasionally happens.
It's like it's there forever.
Yeah.
A downy, like a mouse's hide.
Well, but like it's what happened in my actual hair, and it took a good year to kind of go. But it's because your hair follicles literally cut off like they die. So they stop. They just literally, so you get like totally smooth skin.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They go on strike, and then and
good.
Then, yeah.
Show it to the man.
And then they come back all wispy. It literally comes back like you're growing baby hair again.
Yeah,
it's weird. But I've had it in my beard a few times and I get a little white patch. So you can see it in Hallows Eve.
You can tell without this film, can't you? Talk about
well, we're going into the sort of boring second act, really. There's the road chase aspect, which I guess is all right, but then it's so dull.
Do they they do show them having a cow, don't they? Like, doesn't the machine take a cow because they've got milk?
Yeah, something like that.
I kind of like imagine a moo.
Yeah. The hapless cow that has like Twister when they get sucked up in the.
That's the only good bit of Twister. In my view.
Bovine destruction.
Oh wait, is that the guy that was in Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. He's British. This guy.
Yeah, I think he is.
Fuck off you. I've got to acknowledge that I could be talking shit.
Wow, what's he in? He's in.
Yeah, no, he's not the guy from Fear the Walking Dead, but he's from something else.
He's in. Oh, that's gonna bug the shit out of me.
We'll look it up later. We'd have looked it up before if we cared, but we don't. Yeah, I've definitely seen him and stuff.
Oh, I gotta look him up now. Where's my phone? Talk amongst yourself.
Talk amongst myself. Hello, Richard Jackson. Yeah. This is where it starts throwing in the silly stuff, but it's still really po-faced.
Yeah,
like having a giant transformer. Like I said earlier, if they've got massive transformer bipedal robots, like why haven't they just decimated humans with that? I mean, actually, I will say this much: here's the thing about the whole Terminator situation. What Skynet could probably do strategically is bury itself somehow and just nuke the whole surface of the planet till it was happy and then re-emerge.
Well, quite. Surely was the first thing it did. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Once have the nuclear war and then just purge again and again and again.
Yeah.
Machine. I mean, also, what Skynet's end goal is quite oblique because it's like, humans are discussing vermin that are ruining the planet, so I better nuclear war the planet so I can.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, that's of course he's. So he's that's Trevor Etienne, if I hope I've said that right. And he was in Bad Boys 2. That's why he was ice pick in Bad Boys 2. You know, he's like,
oh, right,
he's blondie dread. He's very expensive. You know that guy. They start destroying his thing. They weren't on wires at all, were they? Or bungees.
Get the cow. Tell me I haven't imagined it. They had milk. I mean, they can't. You wouldn't just have Anne Cow, would you?
You
in this
might.
Situation? Well, they better be drinking its piss as well, just to get the most out of it.
So yeah, that was that all this sort of stuff where it's like all these one takes to make it look more frantic and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but it's a giant fucking transformer.
Yeah, it's
thing.
very nicely staged.
Yeah,
there's good sound design here as well. The kind of bassy noises. Again, wishing it's Hans Zimmer, but it's sound design rather than music. But like,
and that crept up on them, did it?
Well, yeah, and it's got a gun. It's got like a little tiny head and a gun on its shoulder, like
just like
Johnny
Predator.
Five.
Yeah.
Stephanie. Stephanie. Input. Yeah, it's just and then the
dancing to the fucking Bee Gees of it.
Oh, the freaking Terminator. The Terminator motorbikes come out of its legs.
Oh, yeah, that.
And also, they've got little T-800 faces like buried on them. It's just, oh, dude, no, you're trying to be.
It's too much.
Oh, it goes full Mad Max with this big truck as well.
This is all very.
Okay, it was goats. You just saw some goats running off.
Oh, okay.
In the background.
Yeah, see, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? You cannot, if you this is where the sort of Hollywood machine, if you like, starts to ruin it, because it's like it's got to be bigger, more bigger, and it's like, well. Yeah, but again, I always felt like Skynet and the way that the Terminator's been constructed was quite scrappy. You know what I mean? Right. It's like it was all very desperate and all very last minute. You know, I sort of prefer that idea that, you know, like the T-800 and all that was a sort of desperate move, and the T-1000, and it's all kind of created in this completely nondescript underground thing that you wouldn't know about. Like
it's like a windowless building with no lights and no furniture, you know, if it even has rooms, like automated factories and everything, because the whole point, it comes from automation, right?
He just cocked his pump action shotgun like Sarah Connor. Has it got Yosemite Sam mud flaps on it? I just saw. Yes.
She pulled a flare out of her arsehole.
Is her name Blair?
Blair Flair. Tony Flair.
Oh, this explosion's quite well done. Like, it looks pretty good.
Because does that thing has a laser cannon, right?
Yeah, that was a real explosion. Hang on a minute. If you can hide a laser cannon inside anything, wouldn't you hide it inside the T-800 and send it back in time?
Here's my mitigation for the T-800. My kind of head cannon, as they say now, when I was a kid, was that the reason the T-800 looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger is because they've been trying to miniaturize the components.
Yeah.
And that's the
closest you could get. Short of making a massive obese man. Yeah.
So good. See, the fat guy could have laser cannons in his tummy.
The fat guy would have made more sense in the 80s. Like now, Schwarzenegger makes total sense because everyone's buff, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's just what everybody looks like. These Terminator bikes, man.
What they're called Moto Terminators.
Oh, jeez.
Did a part of you die there?
It's just every time, because I know that, but it's just being reminded. It's like, oh, fucking hell.
See, all this stuff is great in and like you say, it's all part of it is being less than the sum of its parts. All that stuff is very well staged, very well put together. But
the visual effects are superb, particularly for 2009.
Yeah.
Really excellent. It's more the concepts at the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that shot's great there. The kind of, I guess, was a drone shot or a helicopter shot. Really good camera work. You know,
yeah.
I think something that I do like about this film is how earnest it is. Because this film is trying.
Yeah.
And you can't really say that about Terminator 2 and Terminator 3.
Yeah, and it's taking that thing that Terminator 3 got wrong, and it's trying to say, all right, look, hands up, we'll do what we're supposed to do. You know, we'll do the future war kind of stuff. But it's just not. It's just the concept doesn't work, and no one's really done it. I mean, I don't think really you can make the future war film. I really don't. I mean, because it works as a little vignette part of.
You never want to actually see that.
Yeah,
it's the same way. Really, we didn't want to see the Star Wars prequel story. We thought we did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I will say that what this does do quite nicely, and I don't think there are many films that can claim to have done it. Is that it's a prequel and a sequel simultaneously, because it's a sequel to one thing, but it's a prequel to another thing. So you've got the John Connor and Kate Brewster we saw before, but now with the Kyle Reese we haven't seen before, because it plays in the time travel narrative. All of that is very crucial to its story, yet the film features no time travel, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So, you know, I think it's really got that going for it. I mean, you've got to give it credit where credit's due. I did see this in the cinema as well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
of course I did.
Yeah.
But it's the thing like Terminator 3 going on the first day and wanting to rip someone's fucking ears off their head.
I was so pissed off with that film.
Me too. But then
my mate Dan really loved it as well. He was like, "Well, what are you talking about? It's really good." I was like, "Oh, it's not. You're one of them."
Oh, it's not that bad actually. Like the
So
bit of
many
the crane.
people. So
Stop talking about the crane, you fucking.
so many people say this is terrible and that T3 was better. It's like, what planet are you on, man?
And don't get me wrong, in my estimations, they're both bad.
Yeah.
But like 3 is so much worse than this.
Yeah.
I mean, this film is stupid and it's boring, right? But so is Terminator 3. But this is trying, and it's got a bunch of quite creative design work in it, loads of great art direction, VFX, special effects, makeup.
It's consistent. It is consistent. I mean, its choices aren't where I want this to go. It doesn't feel like a Terminator film, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is its biggest crime.
Oh Christ! And the harvester goes inside.
It's just like rides it, or whatever. Like.
And it's already had motor Terminators come out of its legs.
Yeah.
So what do like rat Terminators come out the motorbike or something?
It really took us a long time to get wire work right again. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of this stuff when it just doesn't look right when he's supposed to be falling and jumping, and he just looked like he was flying.
And you got such a boner for wire work as well after that whole flying daggers thing.
Oh yeah. So what's that made of?
Chocolate.
Tinfoil.
Oh!
I love it when he does this sort of bouncing bomb thing. Like I remember when all this app was going on, I was like, "There's no way he could survive that. It's bullshit."
It's because he's a Terminator.
It's because he's a
Terminator. Hey, I'm a fucking Terminator. I got metal balls, huh? So that's the thing. Yeah, my thing about because we know Skeleton can grow flesh, right?
Mm.
And they take him and fix him really quick. So are the parts like clone parts and?
Well, I guess they've got like his DNA on file, and they can. But again, if they're that advanced,
his actual brain, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean that's all well and good, but it's like, because there's a point at which he's like going, "I can see your heart beating a mile a minute" or whatever.
And you see it through his chest.
And you can see, if his heart's exposed to river water though, it's probably not going to go down very well.
Don't even get me started on the whole fucking heart transplant in the desert.
Oh, there's that as well. The whole idea of hygiene in this film.
So last time we talked about this, I got a bunch of you think the heart transplant's ridiculous, but you believe in time travel, and it's like, no, that's not the point.
No,
because there are the thresholds for this stuff, and there are tolerances. Like the one thing you just have to accept Terminator is that there's time travel. To then just go, oh well, anything's possible. What's the point in anything? Yeah,
but you can't, just because time travel has been shown to exist as a thing in the film, it doesn't mean that heart transplants can therefore take place in the desert.
Exactly,
it's like
because then nothing means anything.
Yeah,
because then you can just be like, well, the Terminator can shoot giraffes out of its arsehole. Oh, what's the matter? I believe in time travel, do you? Oh.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not it at all.
Exactly. It was just like, Superman can fly, but throwing a giant cellophane S off his chest.
Someone actually called me a hypocrite over that. It's like, I don't think you know what hypocrite means. Because if I was currently writing and releasing a successful series in which there was time travel and heart transplants in the dirt, I'd be a hypocrite. But seeming to contradict myself in one podcast is not making me a hypocrite. That's not what that means.
No. And also, it's those people who say Freudian slip whenever you say anything by mistake. It's like...
Yeah. No. That's not what Freudian slip is. It's not just every time you say the wrong thing. Or sometimes not even that.
No.
It's like, I've had someone say it to me, it's like, oh, I pooed myself. Freudian slip? No, that's like saying single entendre.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Like, for fuck's sake.
I know.
I love this because
she's gonna die.
Yeah, her plan is to just drop to her death, and she's like, "Oh, you saved me," and it's like, I mean, she was just gonna kill herself essentially.
Well, I suppose she's not that high like this.
Oh, I remember it being all the way up.
Yeah, she's not that high.
Okay, fine. I'll walk that back.
But she could have done something better. She got a lot of wire. She could pull herself closer to the structure quite easily.
And this is the thing. It's all like, oh, you saved me. She does not need him at all.
No.
She could use the momentum to swing back to the bloody thing.
Yeah. She could just grab a cable and pull herself over.
Crazy. See, this is it. She just stood there. I stand by it. She just stands there and does this stupid thing. And it's like...
That looks cool. Well, she does look cool, though.
She does, but was she expecting him to do that? Or, was she just going to fall and break her legs? What was the idea?
Because dignity.
Yeah.
But then he drops her anyway.
So she was going to be fine.
Yeah.
I remembered her being all the way up. I'm full of shit.
She's good, though. I like Moonblood good. And it's a shame she's... I mean, I guess she must be in stuff that I'm just not aware of, but she's She's a cool, funky chick. Like, she's got, without it being unearned.
This is the only thing I've knowingly seen her in.
Yeah.
Because I may have well seen her in TV or whatever and not realised. But yeah, she's good enough in this, and it's all fine. I mean,
she's superfluous as a character, and the idea that she suddenly he wins her over and stuff.
Yeah, because she's like his defender among them.
I guess one of the things that survived the nuclear holocaust was teeth whitening strips. Though,
teeth whitening strips and all the leather jacket shops.
Yeah. I've got fucked up teeth because I'm Australian.
I can't see your face because of your white teeth.
I drink too many tinnies and I've got nationalised dental care. I think. No, probably not. In Australia, it's probably the same fucking system.
I think in Australia you spend the money, but then you go to an office and claim it back. I think that's how it works. So it's still kind of nationalised pretty much.
Kind of like we have anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. I hate being inside a Terminator. It smells like it's bum. I'm Carl Reese. I'm an avatar.
It's a bit like War of the Worlds, isn't it? Where they all end up in that basket.
It's very similar to the denouement. It's not even the denouement, is it?
Yeah.
It's where the film's supposed to kick into its third act, but then ends 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
It's quite. It's very similar to War of the Worlds, really. We're referring, of course, to the Steven Spielberg War of the Worlds. For there are many versions. There was a video game. You remember Flashback, the video game, and Prince of Persia or Another World? Remember those?
Yeah.
There was a game about 10 years ago, I think, in that style, where you played as a kind of silhouette against a burning London, and it was an adaptation of War of the Worlds, and your character was all narrated by Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
I had a demo of it. It was rather good, and then now I'm wondering if I just dreamt it. This is one of these things that's just kind of gone.
Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Kind of. Although actually I wrongly used that there. Freudian slip. One thing this is another sort of, it's the inverse of saying what I said about John Connor earlier and being a character you don't really want to see, is the fact that you also have that problem of like we're building up all like his dad essentially and his mum and Marcus Wright and all these other people are actually doing his job. It's like it's the culmination of all those things in one person is really, so it's almost like he's a manifestation of the strengths of those people, but he doesn't have his own agency, and it's like, and that's okay. But it's like, then why are we getting like... It just feels like such a hollow character, even when it's played by Christian Bale. Yeah.
It sounds as if they were onto something better with the original idea, to have Christian Bale barely in it and maintain that kind of mythological status.
Well, it wasn't going to be Christian Bale.
Oh, sorry, I should say John Connor, having John Connor barely in it, and then that kind of... It's sort of like, you know what they could have done? And I mean this entirely seriously. In The Life of Brian... Their point was to have Jesus in one scene and you only see him from a distance. Yeah. Right? Have that. Have like John Connor up at the mountain feeding the 5,000.
With 2 tablets in his hand. That's Moses. This sort of pointless kind of rape scene, or not quite rape scene.
Attempted rape scene.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, this is just a bit gross, and particularly because it's like a PG-13 or whatever. It's not. It
just seems a bit unnecessary as well. Like, surely the whole point is that I guess what they're trying to say is like he does the Terminator move. Surely we're trying to say that like humans all band together, don't they? And like, it's like a Mad Max thing. This seems to show like bands of roving hostile marauders, but maybe in their sequels to the amazing trilogy they were making, John Connor was going to bring them all together and burn them. I don't even know what that trilogy would look like, man. I have no idea. Maybe by the third one it'd be 2029. It'd all be bloody laser war. I mean, there could be an alternate dimension where those were the most vastly successful films, and Terminator Salvation 3 was basically Endgame. That's right. She shoots him and then chucks him all over a medical kit.
That's all right. It's just a nuclear radiated desert. He'll be fine.
You shot him with a Desert Eagle as well.
Yeah, right.
I hope it's not a 50 cal version, because that would have torn his leg off.
In the femur, by the way.
Yeah.
I can tell you all about that. I was not shot in the femur with a 50 cal handgun.
Ow! Right in the femur.
Also, no one actually... I've said this before. No one actually uses Desert Eagles. Like,
no.
They're for sports and stuff like that. Like, you can't... They're too hard to handle. You can't, like... actually just walk around with one. Or at least the 50 cal version.
Yeah. They do, what's the 45?
357.
357.
I think there might be a 45 version as well, I don't know.
Now they're just happy, lovely, hanging out by a fire. This sort of romantic insinuations as well don't really work.
Shall we have coin toss?
Would you like to see my male penis?
Male penis.
Let's chuck around our junk.
Tumescence 50%. Tumescence 70%. Tumescence 99%. Tumescence complete. Erection loaded. Loading. Is your vagina moist? Coitus.
Coitus complete. Shutting down.
Initiate romance. Would you like oysters?
I'm all done now.
Maybe you should go home. Here's your bus fare.
I'm going to the fridge.
There's tissue in that bathroom. You should go. I've got work.
I gotta say, I've turned around on Sam Worthington. Well, he was passed out on the floor.
I turned around.
Only in that I didn't like him very much, admittedly, for a longest time, and I felt like a lot of his stuff was unknown. That's so day for night photography, isn't it?
It really is.
But Mindhunter, not the.
Oh, he's in Mindhunter.
Not that. So not this the Unabomber. It's also called Mindhunter Unabomber or whatever. So not the Mindhunter series that's now in its second season or whatever. There's actually a seasonal thing. This was just it was a one like a.
Is that what the series is based on?
No. So I've confused two things. Mindhunter, the thing you're thinking of.
The David Fincher thing.
Yeah, not that. There's another thing called Mindhunter Unabomber.
Yeah.
That's separate.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't
Paul Bettany
they were separate things.
Yeah, they're separate things. So Paul Bettany and Sam Worthington, and he's really good in that.
There is of all things, there is a film, an Aussie film I saw with him and Jai Courtney playing like kind of whatever the Australian version of a redneck is.
Bogan.
Together. Is that what bogan means?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I nearly used bogan, but I didn't want to use it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Fucking bargain.
Bogan.
I turn around on Jai Courtney because I just think like in Suicide Squad, which sucked, he was great.
Yeah.
And I do kind of think like, if you put him in the right stuff, like when he was allowed to sort of go a bit comedy, he was really good. Shitty movie, but like he had a really good energy, you know.
I just think as well, like it's one of those things. I agree absolutely. I think it's one of the when you're putting them in, when you're asking them to helm, if you like, these giant movies. In this stuff, he wasn't allowed to go nuts and do whatever he wanted. It's like he's an untested, unproven quantity. I mean, I've heard. I know people who worked on the Clash of the Titans films, and they said he was an absolute nightmare because he was storming off and screaming and shouting and whatever. And it's like, I don't condone that kind of stuff, but I can imagine like he would have been a stressful few years for him because he had all the opportunity. And don't get me wrong, I would love it as well. But it's like to suddenly have to have all that on your shoulders. An Avatar, like the biggest.
They're only just shooting the sequels to Avatar. Which blows my mind, but. Michael Ironside just has the best voice, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's War Connor. These films, like I was about to say, these films from Terminator 3 onwards have this horrible knack for miscasting people. Michael Ironside perhaps being one of the exceptions in this. I mean, it's not a bad casting.
I would have said Michael Ironside 10 years prior. Not Michael Ironside in his sort of fat middle-aged Michael.
I'm fine with it. He just doesn't need to be there. That character.
He looks far too comfortable. He looks like he's retired like a long time ago.
Like Lawrence Fishburne on the Predator planet.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what?
Teeth whitening and Burger King survived the whole
fucking double whoppers for all.
Yeah.
See this.
Why would they be guard? Why would they be sentry guards? Well, yeah. Why would you have a T-800s? They're infiltrators. They're not like
this is kind
drones.
Of the image that because what Kyle actually describes as human workers. He was a human worker put to work in a factory disposing of bodies.
Yeah.
And this it's
kind of there. But they're not. Why aren't they just disposed? Like, was you say the disposal units ran day and night?
Ran day and night.
But, so why aren't they just killing?
But here, like, it seems Skynet's kidnapping humans to experiment on, but presumably Skynet, having been plugged into the internet, would have. It's plugged into every computer network ever, right? Because it took over. It would have an exhaustive knowledge of genetics and everything because it's a super intelligence.
Yeah.
So it's kidnapping people and just fucking around with them. Like, I don't know. I don't have all the answers.
It's holocaustal, isn't it? It's like the whole point was that they are being it's disposal units.
It's grim. And obviously the thing of the tattoo, barcode tattoo is similar to the Nazis tattoo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's it's really unpleasant when you think about because obviously it's real life stuff. But
therein lies the horror. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course it sticks to him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Shouldn't work on you because you're not a fucking Terminator.
Like, also, why didn't he think maybe I'm a Terminator because I appear to weigh several hundred? That's the thing they always shy away from as well. Whereas it's like, are they really heavy or not? Because like in T3, he's mega heavy.
Put it this way: I found out after my surgery, quite a lot after my surgery. So the implant in my femur is about 14 inches long, 4 screws, titanium, which is
light.
It's there because it's light, and it's there because it's kind of unreactive, so it doesn't oxidize and stuff in your body as much. Sure. It weighs a couple of pounds, and I don't know exactly how much yet. So every time I weigh myself on the imperial scale, it's like there's a couple of pounds unaccounted for,
right.
And that's just a rod going up inside my leg. So if you imagine an entire thing, and then it's got to have engines and whatever. And
did they ever say what it's made of? Because it can't be titanium.
It says titanium.
Is it titanium combat chassis?
Titanium. I always confuse it and add in laminated with Kevlar because that's from RoboCop.
They can knock him out as well. That's
unless it's a real human brain. Yeah. Shelling around, just slopping around like Kane's brain in RoboCop 2.
Burn.
It's backlighting, but only in the close-up.
It appears like I'm smoking as well.
It's like you go running in winter and you go inside and you just kind of steam.
Yeah. This bit, I just think it's too overacted. That they use this in all the trailers as well, giving away. This started the whole spoiling a lot of it in the trailer, didn't it? But it's all you kill my mother, you will not kill me. It's so over-egged. Everything's too much. And he's like, I'm not a machine.
Before we were born.
Yeah.
Since before we were born, I'm not a machine, you bogan cunt.
I'm American,
the chain around his head is like the more lazy Christ shit.
Yeah. It looks like Crown of Thorns, doesn't it? But that's too clean. It's too clean.
Oh no! I'm a fucking robot. Luckily they got. Oh, that must be a missile silo, right? That they're in.
Yeah, I guess so.
With a nice Death Star window.
Oh yeah.
Your friends will fail.
Look, what is under there as well? It's all a bit too. It's like it's got a webbing netting thing going on.
Because when his face comes off, it's a skeleton like a normal.
Yeah.
Terminator.
There are images you can see of what his endoskeleton looks like, but it's like I don't know. It's a stupid concept. It's like what? And again, if you can do that, then why the T-800? Why send that back through time? Why does he need to not know he's a machine?
If they have this now.
Yeah.
Why not just put...
And what's the benefit to him not knowing?
You've miniaturised the machine part, so put a fucking chip in its brain instead of a brain.
Yeah.
Because the point is to get it close to John
Connor. And why make it Marcus Wright? He's in if anything, and I know all records have been destroyed, humans would be like, you were dead, you were put to death.
Right.
So why be a character? Why be a human that...
What if they sent just Tom Arnold? Hey guys, it's me, Tom Arnold!
Remember? Yeah, exactly. Or
John Connor's just I love the stupids.
Oh God. It'd be like sending back. I don't know, sending
Fred
back.
West, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be like sending back Anton Yelchin to now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and why it has to be this guy? Because Skynet. Because I guess I get it, right? So Skynet had Marcus Wright in its data bank because Helena Bonham Carter was trying to cure cancer.
Yeah.
By making people into robots or something.
Well, it wasn't necessarily they were going to... I mean, in fairness to them, it wasn't necessarily they were going to make him into a robot. It's just they wanted his body for science.
Doing immortality.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. If I was suddenly... I mean, he had shot Avatar at this point, but it wasn't out yet. If I was thrown on a set and had to be that up in Christian Bale's grill and act, it would be intimidating. Definitely.
Oh God, for sure. Particularly when he was not having a good time.
Especially given the window we got into that particular production. What was your reaction? I suppose we should talk about that.
Is that the scene, right?
No, the scene is coming up. Actually, it's when he's leaving Bryce Dallas Howard at the air base.
Right, so I'm referring everybody
because you hear him when he's ranting. He goes, "I'm behind Bryce in the fucking scene or whatever. It's like, give me a fucking answer. It's when they've been having a tender moment.
In
so
case you don't know, I suppose it's possible, Christian Bale had a big ranty meltdown on this set. Arguably justifiably, I'd say, depending on what was going on, but they're working on, you know, and it gets leaked and promotes the film, so, you know, there's that.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Caine made a very good point when he said, like, that got leaked just before the release. And he's like, that seems a bit suspicious when...
Oh, look, that's the thing from Terminator 3, isn't it?
Kind of, but a bit more...
And the eyes are a bit scary.
It's had a facelift.
It's like a T1.
It's a facelift model, yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah. I know you don't like it, but Family Guy did a very funny piss take out of that, where they recut it.
Oh, no, I've heard that. It's like
Peter Griffin.
I thought you liked my life.
It's his first day at work or whatever on a film set, and he's going like, what does he say? He goes, I ate that last piece of pie that was sitting there. He's like, oh, good for you. And how was it? And he goes, I hope it was fucking good because it's fucking useless now. He's going, well, it's nourishing me, so I guess there's a... Now, please don't hurt me, Mr. Pale.
Yeah, see, now I have heard that, and I did find it funny.
What does he say? He goes like, my family's coming to set later on, and I wanted to walk around and have them call me the director. Are you cool with that? I can't remember his response. It's funny. It is really funny, and it's obviously done very last minute, like, because it was so reactive.
That's just like Seth MacFarlane having a lark, isn't it?
Yeah, because all it was a tape reel going round.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to release him. Bye, Common. Whoever you are, but are able to be credited as Common. I think he's a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And I generally like hip hop, so like not knowing who he is my fault. So there's the arcade game of this that was everywhere. Seems to be in every arcade, and you still see it hilariously. It was shit. There was the Xbox game, which was like this unfinished cover-based shooter, which I included in my policy of games where I'm going to buy it when it's less than $5. And I bought it for less than $5, and it was shit. And everyone gave their likeness apart from Christian Bale. So you play as Generic Connor, and then like everybody else is kind of in it.
Christian Kale.
Christian Kale. He's vegan.
Yeah.
Her pregnancy, I forgot she was pregnant in this. It's barely referenced apart from the fact that was she actually pregnant?
Possibly. I know she was. Wasn't she in Spider-Man 3? She was pregnant or something.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was about 2 years before this, wasn't it?
That was 2007.
2007.
So yes, exactly that.
Yeah, she could have popped out a couple in that time.
That's how it works, isn't it?
Out the bum. Baby come out the bum.
That's what happens when you have twins. One comes out of the vagina, one comes out of the bum.
When you have triplets, one comes out the belly button. Welcome to my TED Talk.
El Murray, Pableno. Oh, hi, the aisle. My mum.
Scan it.
Did you? Where's that
Rachel?
It's like that took him over, because in Batman Begins it's modulated and it's good and it's really well done. And like Dark Knight,
the third one, it's gone way off the rails.
It's like it's some sort of drug he's taking.
I tell you, there's one. It only takes one line and it punctures the whole thing in The Dark Knight Rises, and it's when he does it when he knows no one else is around.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Oh, Moon Blood good. You're Moon Blood bad now.
Is that really wise? Like,
Sorry,
and why would it blow it towards you?
She sided behind a robot. It's fine.
You put the charge on the outside and it blew at you. That doesn't make sense.
Another great example of men in films helping women up ladders or into tunnels have to do so by touching their asses.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, you're gonna need a little help there, sweetheart.
Why take cover?
Oh, Common. Don't be a wanker.
That's uncommon.
It'd be good if his back came off.
just came off.
The whole back just slid off. Like
How do they have any hair whatsoever?
It's Terminator. She's into it, man. She's into it.
She's totally into it, yeah.
She likes the rabbit.
I like Terminators.
Did that land on a mine? Is that what that was?
Yeah. I like all this. I mean, again, I do like all this. I know you're absolutely right when you say it's worse than the sum of its parts. I do like all this stuff. Like, it's well done and it's like...
Also, I mean, it's frustrating because this is all really nicely made. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's just been done in service of the wrong film, really. Because
yeah.
like that, when the firework goes up, and the cinematography is really great, all the long takes and stuff, I mean, I think they work, like, and technically they're really good. It's just not... really appropriate. As Gary says in Team America, sometimes assholes fuck when it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes dicks fuck when it's not appropriate. Sperminator.
Are you looking up porn names or something?
No, I'm looking at the credits for this.
Oh, okay.
Which I shouldn't do really.
You should do before we do it, but I didn't do it either. This shot here, there's a shot where he sticks his hand up, isn't it? He gets shot.
Oh right.
You see
okay,
through
I
it.
remember that.
Like here, look. I don't know why. They're obviously a very good shot.
Really good shot, yeah. Stop it, you jerk.
I'm desperately trying to see it.
Target, watch your cat.
Don't call me a cat. Quiet.
No, Ellie,
see, that's a good shot. Like, 'cause you saw the like blood come at camera and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's again, it's less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And the handheld stuff, because that's handheld stuff is used for war all the time. It's the kind of war, even Saving Private Ryan, even before that. And then, 0.30, whatever. Yep, we're into the boring part.
Yeah, and then the finale is fucking dull.
Tell you what I'm going to do.
Have a wank.
Entertain the boys and girls. You're having a beer whether you want one or not.
Oh, very good. May I have the Moretti if it's cold? Well, no, whatever. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, if the tinnies are cold, sorry, everyone. I'm talking about this sort of housekeeping stuff with Richard. Richard's had enough of this. He wants alcohol. It will make it better. So yes. Oh right. So that's it. She takes one for the team. All this stuff, as I've said a million times before, it does not add up that like this is a good plan by Skynet to have him. I mean, how is this? Is all part of the grammar? This all falls under that thing as well of like when it was all part of the plan all along. Thank you, mate. You know what I mean? Like, it was Skynet's plan all along to have him do this. It's like, really? Because that's a shit plan. That's great escape imagery.
Oh yeah, great escape stuff. If Skynet was that good at planning, it wouldn't have fucked up so many times.
Well, quite. Cheers.
All right.
Sorry, everyone, we're drinking now. So you may as well tune out because it's all going to go to...
Any time travellers who are listening, we'll be doing our live stream tonight at 9 p.m. So in a week from now, once you listen to this commentary, hop in the old TARDIS or phone box or DeLorean or whatever you got, or Scary Coffin if you're from Primer.
The retardus.
The retardus, and come back in time and listen to the live stream.
Do it.
Or it's archived, I suppose, on the YouTube, so go watch it.
With documentarian Richard Jackson and Game Star
Duncan Casey.
Star of Game and Advert.
Game and Gadvert.
Gadvert.
Also, one-time computer props handler.
Second time I've said portmanteau in this. Not third now.
Portmanteau is a great word.
It is a great word. So they put him in leathers that she was wearing. I don't think they would fit because she was wearing very fitted leathers.
She was
just happened
very fitted.
But the idea is that really the idea is to try and put him in the Terminator, the classic Terminator thing of biker leathers.
See, they blew up a car earlier and the hunter killers come running.
Yeah.
I mean...
Mind you, I guess they feel like they've been infiltrated anyway. It's all an allegory for rape.
The penis.
Yeah.
And now dead Swiss surrealist.
Who's come back as a Terminator.
Who's come back as a Terminator. HR guy going to pain.
Yeah, see, now there would be a clever infiltrator unit because you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, would you?
Who is it? It's the late Swiss surrealist. Let him in.
Yeah. Wait, ask him a question that he would know the answer to. What's your favourite body part? The penis. Let him in.
Instead of Franco Columbu in the Terminator 1, it's HR Geiger with a kind of plasma cannon and glowing eyes.
So this is a kind of cue James Bond thing where it's like those things are sort of work for this scene. Right. But they're badly designed. If you're a Terminator, like, what use are they? Get all the humans in the sea. Really?
Everything's better. Down where it's better. Under the sea.
And the Terminator, that Skynet had this great plan to like, oh no, we need to put them in the water in case the humans want to go swimming. Like, really?
Yeah, this film has a weird focus on water as well, doesn't it? I think it just features a lot of water to justify those fucking creatures.
Tell you what would make more sense is poison the water. Because humans need to drink water.
Oh, well, do you know what poisons water? A nuclear war.
Well, and that, yeah.
Fuck's sake. I just watched When the Wind Blows last night, so I'm going to do When the Wind Blows of Duncan R. and it's really depressing. I've watched it and read the book many times, but it's watching it again. You're just kind of like, oh my god. I mean, they make cups of tea out of fallout rain and then die within a day.
Jesus,
it's fucking horrible.
Die within a day.
Die within a day. Invisible car. Barry. Mine sounds like a Jim Henson thing.
What was? Yeah, see, this is. I talk to my dog like that.
See, he looks more like Mad Max.
Yeah.
That whole shoulder pad and with the gloves and stuff.
Ellie and Duncan Rule are talking to us on WhatsApp. Sorry, that's why my thing's going. It's good makeup, though. I mean, CG makeup. You know, it does look good. Although I have to say, there's something that just doesn't quite. I mean, that's probably actually one of the better examples of it. All the stuff that was in Genesis and that, it's just too clean.
There's something not quite right about it. I can't figure it out.
It's well integrated there. The T3 one is bad. I
don't mind it, but they kind of make more holes in it than actually would be there.
Yeah. You see through his jawbone, which you wouldn't be able to. But yeah, that works probably the best out of all of them. The one in Genesis doesn't look good at all.
It's at the end, right?
At the end, yeah. It's just it's way too sort of clean and. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's a problem I have with the first film is that when the endoskeleton comes out of the fire, it's like pristine, and you're like, well, you'd be covered in charred guts and blood and God knows what.
I was just bought into the idea that that will burn off because the heat was so much, but then it would be charred.
It would be all you'd be all black and like you.
That's my impression of the music from that bit.
Where are you?
He would just sink, wouldn't he?
Why does he do that? He yells, "What are you?"
Yeah, Batman.
He's like clang. He just wants to walk across the bottom of the sea. That's an image in the new Dark Fate trailer, isn't it? Terminator's walking out the sea.
Oh, well,
they walked
and they
there.
kind of look all zombie-ish as well.
Yeah, I know. And there's on the beach they've got those what do you even call them? So, the cross.
Those anti-tank.
It's like what? You're engaging in sort of World War II level.
It's funny how the future war in that film looks like the future war in this film. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the concepts seem kind of borrowed from Terminator 3 and Genesis, and it's like these are all the worst things.
Yeah. He'll live. There you go. See, reference. Let's reference all the things and the things.
Where are the humans hiding? Yeah. Have you looked in the giant fucking airbase?
Yeah, I know. They appear to be sending out signals everywhere. I mean, that's another thing. Like talking on radios, sending us like. Surely that's what you'd be easily found.
We've tried nothing, and none of it seems to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing is, the Resistance wear those like red armbands in this as well.
Yeah,
and it's just like I get it because they're like a militia, but it's a bit like this seems like a weird choice. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Yes, of course. So yeah, that's his thing, isn't it? That he's like. So I guess the idea is that he is breaking away from whatever organised military there was. Yeah,
because these guys, the kind of internationalist group of generals or whatever, seem to be like they were real Serbian military 15 years ago when they decided to live in a submarine.
See, this sort of stuff as well is very arrogant. It's like, he is the key to the future. What he's essentially saying is, I am the key.
Yeah. Like, fucking dude, there's so much acting.
I think, don't get me wrong, in one sense, like it's quite good in that, like, I do think John Connor would be an utter nutter because he's grown up with this idea that he's going to save the world. And it's like, how? I wouldn't know how. He must be full of, like...
You think Corey Feldman's bad? Check it. He's the ultimate child star. You've been told from an early age you're going to save humanity. Like,
you're either going to be full of Messiah complex or imposter syndrome, aren't you? Like,
this is like the origin of the Resistance. Blah, 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 blah.
Surely his thing would be though, like, look, I've grown up knowing what Terminators are with all this foreknowledge. Like, I can. The whole way that John Connor would work really is that he's a superhero / messiah because he has knowledge of the future.
Yeah, and he doesn't blab about it. He puts it into action to save people.
Yeah.
That's my. I mean, fuck knows. It's just my concept.
Because again, it's all part of it being a sort of loop, a time loop. So the idea is that because the Terminator sent something back, essentially they created their own demise because they gave forewarning to the human race.
That's kind of it. I mean, that's why. Even with the deleted material in Terminator 1, when it pans up and it says it's Cyberdyne Systems, that it serves the closed loop even better. That being kind of a grandfather paradox kind of causal loop. And there's a bit of the bootstrap paradox in there as well, in the kind of thing of writing Mozart's music or whatever. Is that, where did the Terminators come from? And
this is the scene where he lost his shit. Apparently, Chris saying goodbye to her, and the DP was like, "Oh, sorry,
oh me lights,
I'm just gonna fiddle with this. Don't mind me."
He's got a funny name, the DP. Just a moment.
Jeff Buttcrack.
I think it might have butt in it.
That's not a scene to get annoyed at, but when he's going like, "Can we help someone put this back on?" He's got like tons of wardrobe, like random bits of wardrobe on him.
All the fucking gear.
Yeah.
Shane Hurlbutt. See, I told you.
And he
Hold
spat
on, let me
my
just
beer
check, because I don't recall. I'm pretty sure that this.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, he's never done anything particularly notable.
That's very CG. My God, I never remember it looking that CG.
Yeah, I don't remember it getting that much of a close up.
Yeah. See, that doesn't look too bad, but earlier when it was weaving between the traffic. Yeah, again, but all this does is to serve to remind us of like Edward Furlong's John Connor, who was this scrappy little douchebaggy kid, and it's like, I don't buy him as that.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like the same person.
Mm-mm.
In the same way that Nick Stahl doesn't feel like the same person.
Well, yeah, but he feels a bit more like it.
It's death by degrees, though, because it's not really, still doesn't quite work.
No, it doesn't, but at least he's some sort of grubby construction worker. Like, he feels a bit kind of...
He feels like an ordinary geezer,
He's flawed, whereas I think this John Connor's very much like he's stoic.
Why would it be rideable?
Yeah.
I don't care how much you've overrid the thing. Why would it be
it wouldn't have handlebars.
Well, exactly.
But then why exist at all?
It's exactly the thing I always bring up about this film is that there's tables and chairs in Skynet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we'll get to that.
Fucking Christ.
We'll get to that. And not only are the tables and chairs, but they like bounce because they're on a cable when he throws it. I can see. Yeah, you can see his heart. That's ridiculous.
Well, it's a massive vulnerability.
You can't walk around with your heart like There's a reason why like operating theatres are like no germ. Like if your heart's exposed to the atmosphere, you're dead.
They do the fucking heart transplant in the desert. The whole concept of even doing a heart transplant like that.
Well, to be fair to them, they're going to do it, or they intend to do it. Doesn't mean they succeeded, and we'll never know anyway. See, is this Skynet, or is this just a factory for Terminators?
Yeah, because I always quite liked the idea that James Cameron used in the TT3D, like the Skynet just being a pyramid. Yeah, it's like the Borg. It's a strict geometric shape that has no aesthetic. Yeah. It's just a computer core. I mean, because that's all industrial, and I get that because Terminator's industrial stuff. I get that.
That Batman, well, yeah, I mean, the other side of it is that it could have grown out of a factory. Because it would make sense that it would sort of just repurpose. And
there are mechanisms to factories that are necessary, like, you need to vent out all the smoke and fumes, so you'd have chimneys and stuff. Like, I get that, like, fair enough.
Well, why would do you? Because it's not like Terminators breathe. You're not going to have
but you need to, in terms of foundries and stuff, they need to be cooled and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not for the safety of the... Yeah. And this is in some... Because the thing of the Terminator... The Skynet has always been in San Francisco. That's always been a thing. Yeah. San Francisco is a bit of a mission from LA, though, isn't it? I mean, you have to fly. Yeah, you drive, but it's like it's out. Not by American standards. They fucking drive everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't get me wrong, because it's in the same state, obviously, but it's not just like a walk. But I suppose John Connor flew there, did he?
I guess so. Look, again, in fairness to them, all that stuff is shown in utter brilliant light, right? And it does hold up. The CG on him and everything, and the makeup job does hold up.
It looks a lot like the new Star Trek films.
It frustrates me though as well. Like you remember, like when you first watched the Terminator and Terminator 2 and all that stuff. You were fascinated. Well, I was fascinated.
No, I was. Absolutely obsessed.
You know what I mean? Like obsessed with all that stuff.
I think that's something we shared. Isn't
it? 100%. And all those practical effects. It's like, and now we're looking at the perfect embodiment. I mean, look at that. That looks amazing. And it's just like. I don't know if it's because of us.
The close-ups look amazing, but when it spans out in that computer world, it looks like Lawnmower Man.
No, I'm talking about his like the makeup job, and making it look like.
Right. No, that'd have blown my mind. I think if you time machined this to me when I was like 9, my fucking head would have exploded.
But nowadays, this is so par for the course. It's like it is frustrating, that films really don't manage to capture us in quite the same way. But then again, it comes back to like make stuff about character, make stuff about like all this stuff isn't that important, But that does look good. But again, why are there even screens?
One of those websites is called Online News Daily.
Why have this? Why even have a user interface? It doesn't.
Like
why would it have that?
Would you get something through the door called the Paper News Daily? Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Because I suppose you could go like, oh no, because like Skynet's just using the old human office. Like, why?
Yeah, but it's not, is it? Because it's all repurposed. Like, it's all got like purposefully designed. It's got
an interface.
It's got an interface. Yeah, it's got an operating system. Like, it doesn't. And all right, I know the humans designed it, but like, I'm pretty sure Skynet wrote like version 5 point whatever. Like,
I think here they've really got a kind of eye on Douglas Trumbull, haven't they? They're doing their kind of Blade Runner thing. Even the puffs of smoke and everything.
There was like a Cyberdyne there. There's a Cyberdyne logo.
Pyramid on there.
Yeah.
Got a Sony Vio.
Of course he does.
For fuck's sake, Sony are such sluts. They put their shit in everything they make.
Shut up.
I mean,
shut up.
So
I love Sony. Sony are my
I speak
friends.
for myself.
Sony are my very good friend. No, I like Sony.
See, those are.
I've done a lot of films for Sony as well. Nah.
No, I'm just shutting up now. I don't speak for Duncan.
Get out.
They have a bunch of different Terminators here. So there's like a 700, a 600, and
right, yeah.
There's one that looks like just like a T800, but it's a bit too big.
Yeah, well, that wasn't. What was that?
Well,
I think that was.
I think that was a 600 because the 700, the skull looks more like the standard issue T800 skull. Right. Like I think you see them in the factory because it looks like T800s, but they're not or whatever.
Yeah. They're bulkier. Right?
Like remember, I've said this many times, but like my favourite teaser ever is the T2 teaser, where it's the Terminator being built in the factory because it's material that isn't
Stan Winston shot that,
film.
Didn't he? He directed that.
You'd have to tell me.
I think he directed
that would make a hell of a lot of sense because it's his creations and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really well like.
It's like the Back to the Future teaser when he's in the DeLorean. And stuff from the film.
I have to admit, I don't like it because I don't want to see that.
What, the T2 factory?
Yeah, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, but it's not part of the film, so it doesn't matter.
No, I know, it doesn't. And you're right, and absolutely, but I still don't want to see it.
Oh no, I love that.
I love it. I love it as
a
mood
great
setter
movie because it's not a trailer; it's a promise.
Oh yeah, no,
That's
absolutely.
What I love about
it. I sort of love it and don't love it in equal measure. I'm a bit weird like that.
Because in this, it's all a bit dirtier and stuff like that. Isn't it? It's more dirtier.
Only a dick would say that. Yeah, see, all this sort of like. This stuff would exist, I guess, because if you were going to have an operating theatre. But again, why is it there? Like, he was in a grubby underground missile silo thing. And then it's like, and now there's this pristine workshop where you build Marcus Wrights or whatever. I'm this woman for some reason. Oh, it's someone he recognised.
Well, they love doing that. They don't. How many times it's such a cliche of like, I've chosen a face you will recognise. I've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
I just actually... might have had a glitch there because I accidentally thumbed my mic off. You can see it on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, apologise.
You thumbed your mic.
Fuck's sake. Why does it matter? It doesn't matter. You could just be a voice.
I know, yeah. It's like...
We can meet others if you wish. And why does it...
I think by this point you'll accept anything anyway. It's like, you know you're a machine, so...
It's me, Tom Arnold! Or if you'll prefer, the pain is...
Could you be Swiss surrealist, HRQ?
Could you be a dead Swiss surrealist?
Fine, it's
your wish.
I feel at home now.
Could you be Russell Crowe?
Do you know what? I'm gonna give Sam Worthington a pass on this because I don't think he's bad. Actually, I don't think he's bad in this.
It's bland, but I don't feel like it's his fault.
No, I don't. I think he's quite earnest, and I think he's doing the best he can with it. One thing I will say though, they grew his skin back with stubble on it.
Yes,
that's quite precise.
That is a lot of hard work punching their head back in.
Exactly.
Just as we left him, he should look like Neo when he comes up the tank in the Matrix.
Is this a bordello? Like, what have they got?
The red rooms.
Yeah,
it's a bit like it's walking down the red light district.
I didn't notice that before. You've got that kind of cityscape out the background. That's all right.
Yeah, look, there's all the... Yeah, so this is a front office then.
Yes,
this is the penthouse suite.
That they keep just in case he turns up. I mean, again, this is all... She says to him, it's like, you killed John Connor. It's like, no. And also, you haven't. And also, like, what? So that's a thin plan. What, that you would be his mate and he would follow you to Skynet? No. We knew he'd find out that you were a Terminator.
Man. Should we just invent a time machine? Balls to it.
It's so frustrating because it's so weak, all that stuff. But actually, this film has so many good strengths in it. Like, look at that, an HK in the rain. That's quite cool.
Production-wise, there's loads of really great stuff. And, I mean,
You can't hear that. Fuck off. Don't act like you're like, what's that?
What's going on?
You're a submarine underwater, you dipshit.
Oh no, we have destroyed.
Not as much as I destroyed your mother last night. Ha ha ha, I want that to be the last thing you ever hit.
Oh, if you or I are ever in that situation, it's going to be a race to say the last thing, isn't it? I destroyed it like it does, bumper.
Leave me that second to question what you just.
So I remember in the Blues Brothers when the Illinois Nazis' car just launched off in the air. And one of them turns to the other one, played by what's his name. He goes, "I always loved you," and then he does this really uncomfortable look. It's just like he ruined the last moments of his life.
There's with that brilliant Father Ted episode where we're on the plane and it's going to crash, and Graham Linehan and the writer,
Matthews.
the writers are both there. They're playing, and he's like, because they all think they're going to die. He goes like, "I have a confession." It's like, "I love you," or whatever. And then when it saves the day, they have this awkward
awkward silence. Yeah.
Yeah. Now here you go, CGI Arnold.
See, the thing is, because his name's like Marius something, his Polish bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So,
does a good job.
He does a very good job, but like this is going to sound really minor, but like the chest is all wrong. There's a different guy's chest. The muscles groups just look different. It's something I just.
Well, they will, but he's a similar build though. He's a similar.
That has not aged well.
No,
Yeah,
it's not bad, but it's like
for 2009. Hey.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's again. This just feels so tacked on.
We know that they wrote all this with the idea that he may not let them do it.
Right.
So it was going to be shrouded in smoke, and then he was just going to blow his face off.
Yeah, which happens anyway.
And it was there just for the sake of being there. I mean,
I know, and it's just like, why is that there?
You
Why
could have made the Schwarzenegger-less Terminator movie. It'd be great if you just pulled the whole skin off his head.
Yeah. Well, he kind of does.
Now what you're gonna do? In your face, Skynet. I mean, why not bury it right in the middle of his skull?
Yeah, I know.
Put it there.
What is that as well? Like his control chip or his tracking chip or something?
I mean, it looked like a lump of soil.
Yeah, look at this.
Actually.
The chair. Right,
Not
in the chair, but it bounces like it. Oh, is it a chair? Look at it. It's like on a string.
There's a couple of them.
It's on a fucking string, mate.
It's a Terminator chair. It's where the Terminator sit.
The Terminator chair.
It's my chair. No, it's my chair.
It's flat.
It's flat.
Like my butt. Did you see my butt? It's fantastic. Buns. What's going on there? That looks like the Total Recall thing with the.
Oh yeah,
the Total Recall.
The minderizer. Put your mind in there, mate. Right. So you can have good memories of a holiday.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm going out for a couple of titties, mate. I'm gonna get laid, mate.
Go eat some shingles, mate.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick my scrotum in a vagina.
I love it. In the in-betweeners, and Jay's saying, he goes, "Do you put your balls in?" And he thinks for a minute and goes, "Yeah, if you like."
That's right.
If you like. Stuff your balls in.
Yeah. I met the girl from the in-betweeners, Emily.
Carley D'Amato.
It's the blonde girl.
The one that Simon loves.
Yeah.
She's what's his name's daughter, isn't she?
Who,
you know, Giles from Buffy. What's his name? Fuck's sake.
Who's in the what now?
Famous bloody email.
Well, hang on. I'll finish my story. So I met her on Emmerdale. I had lunch with her and everything. She's really lovely girl. She did Emmerdale and got to hang out with her. That's the end of my story. I'm sorry, it wasn't very long. But yeah, she's really nice.
He's really famous, and I forgot his name.
Oh, I know who you mean. Is he called Duncan?
Anthony Stewart Head.
Oh, okay, not called Duncan.
Ant Stew Head.
I'm called Duncan.
He should have been Dr.
Why does the T-800 do that? No, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Like why? Why does it tear the other one apart? Oh, now we don't need to do Arnold anymore.
Kind of, thank fuck.
That's so. Again, like I'd almost rather they just didn't do it because it's like
they did the exact thing in Terminator Genesis as well.
Yeah.
There's his nose blown off for a bit, but then.
And that annoys me as well because it's like there's something. In the one sense, they're indestructible, and in the other sense, they're really easy to.
Yeah, when
you know
it suits him, right? That he just landed on a bunch of skulls. Ow.
And it sort of implies they come in packs, like you know when you got your Ninja Turtles and they had the like
little rip-off plastic.
Yeah. This is reminiscent of the
Yeah.
The teaser you were talking about.
But not as good.
Why? You can't just bung its eye in like that. It's got all connecting rods and shit.
So in that teaser, when they put the arms on it, it's just like, that's just a fucking screw, mate.
Yeah.
It's like Meccano.
Again, it's that thing of like in T3 when he sits up and puts his head back on. Like you can just bung it back on. It's like it's connecting rods and shit. You can't just... Oh, that pissed me off.
Right, and Terminator 3, man.
That film lost me around about there. But this is like, just chucking things together. It's not a Meccano set. It's a Terminator. It's a Terminator. It's a Terminator. What are you doing?
Power cells from T3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is, I remember...
So are these T850s then? Or what?
No, I think they're supposed to be 800.
Because I thought the point was the 850 had that power cell and...
Let's not even get into that. I hate that so much.
It looks like the mixing things from Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh, yes.
True story.
It reminds me of a thing from a better thing. It's corn syrup, Duncan. Corn syrup.
Yeah. Pancake syrup. That looked like they had a bunch of hotel toasters there. The type with the conveyor belt that's way too overly elaborate. Like, what is that about? Just put toasters out, for fuck's sake.
I used to have to operate one of those,
why this
man.
conveyor belt
because you can get a bunch going on at once.
Oh, yeah, I
but
guess.
then everyone has to queue in an orderly fashion. At the other end.
Oh, yeah, look, it was hiding behind the other one all the time, but you could tell because it has red eyes.
And again,
remember red eyes?
Should I wring his neck or no, just punch to the floor?
But again, utterly clean. Like, it's not... I mean, it's not utterly clean.
What this does do... There are bits where the Terminator is silhouetted and backlit, and it looks a hell of a lot, in fits and starts a hell of a lot like the first movie. Like,
yeah. This is a very good, because the lighting and everything does. Again, look, you've got incredibly competent filmmakers, and McG unfairly gets a load of crap over this, which I don't think is fair.
I will give him this. I don't think I like anything McG has done.
With Charlie's Angel.
Yeah, and a few other bits, and I don't hate it or anything, but I've never enjoyed anything he's done. He does comedies mostly, and action comedies. This is way out of his comfort zone, and I think this is as good as it was likely to be. You know what I mean?
I guess so, but you know what? I genuinely think he's someone who really wanted to make a good thing, and he, again, I just don't look at that. That looks good.
That looks great, and that's a recreation. Recreation of the. I've got to give him credit. Like, I think he did a good job as he was likely to do, and I think he approached it earnestly. I think he really wanted to make a good film. When you hear him talk about it, that's what it sounds like. He really wanted to make a good film. He didn't, but like he wanted to. Yeah.
Again, some of the parts thing, isn't it? It's like all this stuff looks fine, but it's like Terminators do that a lot. Though they walk slow for a while. Yeah, they do that. I mean, don't get me, it feels a bit unearned, but it does at the same time make sense that a Terminator, like if you punched it in the head like that, would do the same thing every time because they're all the same machine. And that I'd like to see more made of that, where it's like you can learn to defeat them because they're all the same.
Yeah, and in Terminator 2, they specifically say that it's designed not to learn anything.
Yeah, I know. That gets brushed under the carpet too much.
When you watch that, I will say that when you watch the theatrical cut of Terminator 2, as I did the other night, the whole third act of the film stops making sense.
Yeah.
After he kind of goes like... Because, he says, I can learn. In the theatrical cut.
Yeah, he just basically says like, yeah.
But he only starts learning from that scene onwards.
I know, yeah.
It's
because you told me to. It's like, that's not... Yeah, I know. That... Again, and there's so much to be said about that as well. Like, there's so much to be said about the John Connor character that says, no, trust in people to learn, trust in things to learn and make their own decisions. That's the whole point of that scene. Is like, that's his big play. That's his first decision he makes as a leader, effectively. Yeah. Is to say, no, trust it. Trust that if it learns through us, it will learn the right thing.
Yeah, and he has to tell Sarah that.
And the whole thing at the end when she's like, if a machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too. Yeah, because you taught it.
Yeah, exactly.
And your son.
And
but you know what I mean?
The fact that has to be turned on, I think, is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I do... Also, because it sacrifices a really good... I think the best version of Terminator 2 is just the theatrical cut with that scene in it.
And plus the glitchy T-1000 stuff.
Oh, yeah. Because that... Yeah.
That's really important as well.
Absolutely right. I mean, I actually...
The smiley shit and all that.
I prefer the director's cut of T2.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it. It's got the smiley shit and whatnot. But that's all paid off.
I can ignore that.
But he does smile later.
Yeah,
It is paid off. Like...
Yeah, I know it is. I just don't. It just feels a bit hokey.
Fair enough. I mean, it still makes sense without the smiley scene because we know he learns stuff, right?
Yeah. No, it's so important. It's so important to the themes of the film as well.
Why does its vision look like that when it didn't ever before? And this is an older version.
It sort of does, but doesn't.
It certainly doesn't look that good.
No, it's just polished. It's too polished. It's like I credit to them. They've tried to make it look but it's too 3D.
It's got those little tracking marks like Adobe After Effects.
Was this in 3D?
No,
it wasn't.
No. Well, I don't think so.
No, it was. I think it was too. But bear in mind, it came out before Avatar, so it's not.
Just came out that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but check out my cool aviators, man.
Look at my glasses.
I didn't know what accent to pick for that.
Yeah,
common. What's common? Check out my cool aviator, man.
Aviators are still available in the nuclear war as well.
Yeah.
You just fucking go down to bloody Target or whatever. Mission Hills, baby. I lived in Mission Hills for 3 weeks.
This is so he got duped again by a Terminator impersonating someone.
Right, yeah.
You learned this before.
You know about this.
Yeah.
This is how your granny got killed.
I do like the idea though that it's not really saying it. It's like it's obviously got a voice box that just
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
why would it need to move its jaw? Like it only does that when it's trying to be a human.
It's trying to be human. Have you seen the your foster parents are dead scene has become a meme?
Yes, you sent it to me. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Dude, there are loads now.
Are they a fan of The Simpsons? Like,
is your foster mother a Simpsons fan? Yeah.
These praises. What?
Your foster parents are dead. Oh, that's yeah. I think that's really going to help fucking Darkface's chances. That meme.
yeah. I don't. See, all this stuff is good. I don't like the idea this is how he got his scar.
Right? Like it's what we're always talking about is bullshit destiny crap.
Admittedly, though, when I was in the cinema, I was like, "Oh, so that's how." And then I was like, "Oh no,
Superman 4: The Quest for Peace."
Yeah. See, all this stuff is like that. Why that wouldn't cool it quick enough to like stop it? And again, they're trying to do.
Just move your head, mate. Move your head, mate.
Why don't you just move?
No, just let him. Fine. You want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, well, yeah, isn't that a bit ironic?
What's also great is the Terminator. That Terminator's still functioning.
Yeah, it's
so
just like
this is annoying.
No, we established it doesn't have to move its jaw.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Call to John. Oh yes, of course he actually because his heart's sticking.
Chest
out.
compressions only work if you can compress the chest. If it's made of metal, you can't do that.
You can't just do the people's elbow.
Yeah,
the people's elbow.
You're not the Rock. Oh, jumpstart. Oh my god, I forgot. Oh my Christ.
Yeah, it's sort of really what lets it down is its lack of understanding of how heart.
Well, surgeries. It's
literally a lack of heart.
Yes, its general silliness is what.
Yeah.
Fucks it over.
And again, like you say, if it's trying to be po-faced and earnest, it's like it doesn't work when you're trying to do...
It's got this super realistic, quote-unquote realistic
version.
Look
at that! He just got fucking stabbed through the chest. It's all well and good saying he needs a heart transplant. Why? Because his has been obliterated. It's like he's not going to be alive anymore.
Oh,
that's
God,
hokey as well.
The head. Oh, God. You know, like...
that looks designed for 3D, even though
it does. Well, it didn't do the head up to the camera.
Yeah.
Also, when you have... I mean, even if you have, like, transplants to your corneas, most people have to use steroid eye drops for a while for the rest of their life. You have a fucking heart transplant, you'd have to take immune-suppressing drugs for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So the fact that Bryce Dallas Howard just popped his heart out, gave it a rinse under the sink and superglued it into his chest, because she's a vet...
Yeah, well, yes. Lest we forget, her medical experience extends to veterinary.
I'm sure she's done it on hundreds of donkeys.
Yeah, because people always pay for heart transplants for their dogs, don't they? I mean, fuck off.
Oh, Christ. And
he's not going to be alive.
This doesn't add anything. Like,
no.
Like, if you wanted Marcus to sacrifice himself, there are way more logical ways to do it. There are so many more. If he blew himself up or whatever.
Yeah. But and also like wasn't the original thing going to be that John Connor turned out to be a Terminator or something?
Yes. No, what was going to happen was they were going to... Because the whole setup to this doesn't make any sense before we even get into the point of it. John Connor was going to die, and it was like, we need a symbol for the resistance, so it's going to turn out that all along John Connor was actually Marcus Wright wearing John Connor's skin.
Yeah,
right. But there was a double dark ending where they were going to do the thing successfully, and John Connor was going to murder everyone in the room, and his eyes were going to glow red, and the credits would roll. And it'd be like, I know that you've done that for shock value, but it makes no sense.
That's a poor character choice for two reasons. One, don't blow it up while you're flying over it. 2, he should have got the kid to do it. because he's an inspirational figure, not a I'll take the glory, thanks very much figure. You know what I mean? He should have gone, do it, or something, and then the kicker. Oh yeah, knowing him, he would have do it. Like, oh God, all right. Yeah. It's all right because they've got camo netting, so he'll be fine.
Look, you're just walking about. Well, I guess we're gonna just pop your heart out there, give it a good old rinse, and I have my baby out by the time you get out.
Yeah, but yeah.
Don't worry, mate. She's wearing scrubs.
Outside. What does that do? Why bother?
She must have kept him from when she was a vet.
I'm no Superman.
I hope you got plenty of Purell, mate. You're gonna have to really hand sanitize the shit out of this.
It's
one.
a good thing your father is a director. She's good though. I do like Bryce.
No, she is good. Yeah, I really liked her. She did that really great Black Mirror episode.
As I do Ron Howard. I'm a big fan of it. I haven't watched. I've watched one episode or two. No, sorry, 2 episodes of Black Mirror, and I'm so behind on all that. Everyone says it's so great.
5 series deep now.
Yeah, I didn't watch Bandersnatch. I've got Netflix. I didn't watch it. I guess at the time I was like, you bastards. That's our thing. What are you doing? Because that kind of came out it came out after we'd done Erica, but obviously it came out way before Erica came out. But
I've just done a burp. Sorry,
I've just done a shit.
He did. He shut on the floor.
I said, I'm the silent shitter.
The dirty shitter.
The silent shitter. I don't know what. Now get out of here. He reached up with his hand.
I don't know why.
Why not? Why not? Terminator Salvation.
And he wiped his ass
with
this pen.
You can have mine. I think I'll be alright anyway because
Wait a minute. I've got a heart.
I've got a
She's put her eye makeup back on.
Yeah. She does look good with it. I don't know why. Yeah. It's a weird choice.
It's a bit like she was looking for a letterbox when a bomb went.
Well, I kind of assumed earlier it was because she had a visor up or something, and it was like...
It's like war paint, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's like a First Nation type thing.
Yeah, I guess it must be, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't take the bit.
No, I did as well. Awful.
I guess it is.
Fair play. If you a bloody kiss, can I have a bit of tongue? I'm cutting me hard out. He might as well tear out of his own chest and throw it into John Connor's chest.
For all the
difference it makes. I mean, they could just show them hooking him up to a bicycle pump or something.
The thing is, they've gone to the lengths of saying they have all this access to this equipment and blood transfusion, like blood and blood transfusions. That's very Star Warsy. Why can't you have a lab or like a clinic or something? It's just like they've got all that. If you got that, where did you get it from? And if that was still intact, why aren't you in it? Because why are you in the desert?
I love you, John Connor.
Cheers, mate. It's all right, mate. Maybe you can drum us up some razors.
I'm just a flaming robot anyway. Look at all this stuff.
Well, I think the imagery is that it ends for him the same way as it ends.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
As it began. Yeah, but it's more that they've got all this in a dirty tent in the
right.
radioactive
If
desert.
you've got that, you've got it from a hospital. So go to the fucking
machine, so this makes sense.
And you ideate yourselves up a fucking hospital, you twat. Sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry. No one knows what that means.
No one knows what that means. In joke.
Yeah.
Oh, my face. I'm a John Connor.
My face is fur.
Where's the face going?
Yeah.
Where's the heart going? I guess I'm better now. Let's go play some fucking tennis.
Should we go do some more Terminator? Where are they going anyway? Where are you going? And off he went into the sunrise or set. Not really sure.
Sun Apocalypse Now.
And it sort of looks like a nuclear explosion.
It's a bit like Apocalypse Now.
But the thing is, to say that then the war that we've seen in the first 2 films follows on from this is like... This again implies you won. Didn't they just blow up Skynet? Or
it all takes place at night. Like this whole film takes place at day.
Well, again, what did they blow up? They blew up a factory, I guess. It wasn't Skynet, right?
I don't think so. It was a factory, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to turn this up a bit. What does this even do at the end?
Just the credits, right? Like I don't think there's
where's the music?
Goes wow. See that gliss, that is so Hans Zimmer. It's so Dark Knight. It's so
yeah. See, like the Terminator 3 just ends with like this weird orchestral version of the Terminator thing.
Yeah.
Having not employed it once properly in the entire film.
No, it's not in the film at all. That really pissed me off as well. I remember seeing that cinema and being like, what?
Well, why does Jada Grace Berry get her surname in
first name in capitals, second name in lowercase? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Did that really pan out?
Does that make sense? Yeah, is that the hill you're going to die on? Is that your thing?
Yeah. She was insistent.
I'm absolutely wrong. It was Roland Kickinger.
Yeah.
Roland Kickinger plays young Arnold in See Arnold Run.
And
he's in Son of the Beach as well. Sorry, I think Marius, what's his name, was the one who did it in Genesis then.
Fair play.
Yeah, sorry, Roland Kickinger. Roland Kickinger, have you seen him? He's like freakishly like young Arnold.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
I've seen
weird.
Run Arnold Run and yeah. I've seen the behind the scenes stuff with that.
If Run Arnold Runs on YouTube, we could 100%.
Don't change the formula.
What?
For tonight? You say for tonight?
No, not tonight.
Oh, sorry,
not tonight. We could totally do a live watch thing of Run Arnold. No, I'm not, fuck that, mate. I was gonna say. I spent a morning editing the tits out of Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Nice. I don't mean now in modern parlance. Editing the tits out of something means
you
edited
it a lot. Well. Yeah.
I literally edited the breasts out of Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Here, Ticket to Hawaii.
I cannot wait for you to experience Hard Ticket.
Well.
Cybertracker 2 as well. Oh my days.
I'm trying to remember Cybertracker 1. I know it had what's his name in it?
Don the Dragon Wilson.
No.
Tony Burton.
No. Who's the bad guy? The bad guy in Cybertracker 1.
No. That's Cyborg Cop 1. You're thinking of John Rhys Davies.
Of course I am. Not John Rhys Davies. I'm thinking of Matt. What's his name?
What are you talking about?
Cyborg Cop.
Yeah, Cyborg Cop. The first Cyborg Cop has John Rhys Davies in Cyborg Cop. Not Cyborg Cop 2. Cyborg Cop 1 is John Rhys Davies. Trust me.
What film did what? It was really bad, and there was a guy and he looked like the Fonz, and he was tracking.
Yeah, that's Cybertracker 2. No, fuck. Okay, no. Cyborg Cop 1 with David Bradley as the 1950s greaser. Cyborg Cop 1 has John Rhys Davies as the bad guy. Cyborg Cop 2, also him. Cyborg Cop 2, greaser guy with the bum bag.
Yeah,
and the bald geezer is the bad guy. Cyborg.
I've seen one of them. We did one, and it was
Cyber Cop 2 we did on It Ain't Broke, and then the video went to shit, so I put it on Patreon as an exclusive.
Right. Is that what we're watching tonight?
No, we're watching Cyber Tracker 2.
Sorry, okay. But there was one with so sorry, forgive me, sorry everyone. This is so not about Terminator.
The credits the hardest part.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the guy, the guy who's in Lawnmower Man 2.
Matt Frewer. Which was the one with? I'm sure there was one where he was the bad guy. Nope. Unless you've merged.
Maybe I have.
Man 2. The bad guy from Cyborg Cop 2 is called Spartacus, and he's the bald dude who leads the group of cyborg cops. Yeah. And he looks mildly like a sort of roided up Matt Frewer, maybe. Because Matt Frewer in Lawnmower Man 2 is bald.
I guess I assumed that was Matt Frewer.
Merged the two.
I guess I have. I guess it was a Freudian slip. Sorry, everyone. That was nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I mean, these are the hardest bits. I haven't seen
Cyborgs, I suppose.
I haven't seen Joe Pancake.
No, I don't know what Joe's up to these days. I should reach out.
Pancake. So, there's a Jerry Anderson reference.
Yeah.
The kids love those, right?
Maria, Aqua Maria.
Oh, Maria,
you gotta see her.
Ding, 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 ding.
She swims like a motherfucker.
Oh, that's the
motherfucker.
Rejected. Yeah, the Blondie song Maria was originally the theme song for Stingray. Yeah. It's true science fact.
Well, I think it's basically a play on Ave Maria, isn't it? Because she goes, Maria, Aqua Maria. Look,
I haven't watched Stingray in a million years.
It's Ave Maria just with Aqua.
With Aqua. They really
very clever.
There's been a lot of...
You don't understand.
Strange amount of Jerry Anderson bants going on tonight.
Janderson, the portmanteau of Jerry and indeed Anderson. Dolores Pope. Dope.
Where can you
Sarah Blank, Cockney
where can you dock two boats that have been fused together?
The portmanteau.
I
suppose so.
Portmanteau. Doesn't really work. But, you know,
Digital environment and concept design work by Whiskey Tree. Whiskey Tree's a nice name, but not for a visual effects company.
Are you all drunk? Because if your work's good, I don't mind.
And are you up a tree?
Jeff Herron,
Because it's,
Chuck Ray, all the people. Mark Buck, 3 people named after animals.
Frank Tarantino, that must have been a bitch of a surname to go into the film industry.
No, I'm not related.
I once bought a Ford Focus from a Ford dealership from someone called Simon Ferrari.
Oh.
And I asked him, are you any relation? He said, yes. I said, well, why the fuck aren't you working for Ferrari?
And then he said, my life is sad.
He said something along the lines of, that would be too obvious. I was like,
That's not how accidents of birth work.
No. Get thee to the nepotism.
Get thee to the chopper.
Get
Divers.
some steampunk version of Predator.
Divers that you shouldn't have needed for this film.
Yeah, I know. Divers on a Terminator film. Like, really?
Is there actually no music, or I just smashed it all the way down?
No, there is. It's just very low key and.
Where's me remote? You can't hear it on the soundtrack.
Where's me scribe?
Yeah, it is really low, isn't it? Low and generic.
Chris Batty.
Chris Betty. Lisa. Ooh, Missy Papa George.
Alex Romano. Deborah.
Oh yes, I'm sure they sold piles of soundtracks to Salvation.
Available on Reprise Records.
McGee, executive producer soundtrack. Interesting. Main title for Terminator 2 Judgment Day, written by Brad Fiedel. Main title for no Terminator 1 acknowledgement though, so I guess they didn't specifically use it.
Well, it's to be fair to them, like it is the Terminator 2 score they always use.
The kind of clangs and
it's the dun 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 dun. It's not, but she's in the first one. It's the dun 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 dun, isn't it? I know it's an extra just one. Exactly.
Seeing that on this, I've seen that twice on the big screen. Seeing that last week, I was just
still from the Terminator.
Yeah, it's the Sarah Connor picture.
Yeah, but that's not a still from the film. That's just a picture.
But it is a still from.
I suppose technically it's sort of.
If you want to be really pedantic.
Do you think they made? Actually, that's a good question. Do you think they made the little Polaroid out of a still? Because they shot that scene last, didn't they?
Because I've wondered that because that actual image isn't in the film.
Yeah.
Like unless because they reused that again and they even restaged it with what's her face from Game of Thrones, didn't they? For
of course they did.
Yeah.
Emilia Clarke.
That's the one. That's the one.
Who
Han Solo's missus.
Yes.
Apparently. Right. Well, can we kick this in the head because that film sucks shit.
It didn't suck shit. It was all right. It was all right, man. It's not great, but it's all right.
The other two gargle diarrhea, but this one sucks shit. Well, we'll be back on the internet. Duncan, go on.
We will indeed. We'll be back for more commentary. I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, you can probably identify the exact time mark where it went wrong, which was probably when Richard came back with a beer. But we enjoyed talking about that. It was. I guess it was a cynical ploy to kind of cash in. I'm talking about Terminator because Dark Fate is joy, but. I think this film does deserve some love and it does deserve some reappraisal in it, and I think it's probably of all of them, it's probably one of the more interesting ones to talk about.
I'm not as enthusiastic about that as you are. I'm happy to defend it. I don't like it. I think it's bad, but I'm happy to defend it for the reasons I've just given. Yeah, I think there's a lot going for it. It's just lesser than the sum of its parts. As I said early on, I said that.
Yeah, absolutely. Why does it say Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines? Is that on this disc? It can't be. Oh, trailers. That's why I don't want to watch the trailer.
Why? Why?
Well, whatever.
You sick fuck. It's also in
add insult to injury. Yeah. Anyway. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, and we will catch you all again soon for another commentary. Until then, goodbye.
Support your 7th or 8th favourite YouTube channel by buying crap, tat, junk, hogwash and filth at redbubble.com/people/Val Verde Shop.